I'm a better human for being fit. You know, Roxy doesn't care if I'm fit or not. She probably cares if I can bend down and play with her, which is important.
And she'll care if you're able to be doing it in 20 years.
Exactly. Yeah? But also she'll care that I'm in a good mood and I'm able to show her the best side of me and be the best version of me that I can be. And for me, that comes from moving, exercising, spending time with like-minded people in a positive space. It's like therapy, right? It's like 6 days a week of therapy. And the fact I get to share it with Chris is super powerful.
Hello and welcome. Today I'm here with Ellen. Ellen is mom.
Indeed.
Soon to be second mom.
Yep, absolutely.
And she has so many very interesting stories leading to all these kids' joys. And also Ellen is extremely inspiring for me and for people around with how she's handling her fitness, how she's handling her nutrition while being pregnant and taking care of a 2-year-old.
Yes, I do. Yeah, I have a 2-year-old and I'm currently 5 months pregnant.
5 months pregnant.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So size of?
Size of chocolate bar.
The baby, yeah?
The baby, yeah. Not me. The size of, or if you're feeling healthy, you could say that he is the size of a red pepper.
Oh, you know the gender already?
Yeah, he's a boy. Yeah,
cool,
so one of
cool.
each. Or if you're feeling nostalgic, the size of, you know that astronaut ice cream, like that freeze-dried ice cream that you can add water to in space? The size of a packet of that, apparently. Okay. Not that I think I've ever seen a packet of that.
Who is making this up?
It's some crazy. It's a really useful app, but that's my favorite thing about it.
Okay. All right. So it's like a pregnancy app.
Yeah. It's from like a traditional What to Expect When You're Expecting, which is like a really famous pregnancy book that takes you through your journey of pregnancy and out the other side and gives you loads of advice. But they've gone all sort of modern and made a cool app. Yeah, there's quite a few pregnancy apps out there now that people use. I tend to not really buy into it too much just because everybody's normal is different, right? So they tell you one thing, the baby should be doing this, or you should feel this, or you should feel that.
All the shoulds, right?
All the shoulds, yeah. There's so many modal verbs hitting you. You're like, oh, but I didn't feel that, and this isn't what I'm doing. And so I think you have to take it all with a bit of a pinch of salt, really. That's
pregnant. Also when I have a couple of babies around back home. My brother has a baby from January. The new one, and before,
Mabruk, nice.
And before he has a 3-year-old also. Timea has a niece,
loads of kids.
From her sister. So we're watching kind of distantly, but sometimes with a personal engagement, the development, and that's exactly that. Like people like, by 4 months he should do this, by 6 months he should do this. Well, on average, yes. On an individual level, it doesn't really matter, right? Also, when you have, this is the same case when we have nutrition recommendation of, let's say, how high your sugar levels, how high your cholesterol levels, how high your sodium levels should be. I'm like, should? Yeah. Well, there is so many factors that can influence it, and everybody's developing on a different timeline. So
yeah, for sure. Like I know at the moment, so Roxy, who's that's my daughter. She should have, I think it's like 200 words, and she should be able to string together, three sentence words. And I'm like, well, she can do that. I'm like, oh, my child's a genius. I'm like, no, that's just literally on that one little path. She's probably got 205 words or something crazy, you know? So
look, I know people who were able to read by age 3.
Wow.
They learned it themselves by just asking their parents and people around them, what's this letter? And they stringed it together and they were able to read. Hey, knowing them now...
I'm hoping she can like snatch and clean by the time she's 3. They're my goals.
Doesn't predict anything on the cognitive level, I can tell you that.
True.
You know?
Yeah.
So, there was a spurt at that time and
then a backlog for a while,
so, but definitely it's about the engagement you give them. The stimulation and
Absolutely.
However, still with all the stimulation, if it's not going the way you need to or you expect to, oh, come on. Not everybody is born to be a,
rocket scientist.
Yeah, rocket scientist. So
even if they are the size of an astronaut ice cream, exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Too true.
Astronaut ice cream. Ellen, you are also a teacher.
Yes.
At school. What do you teach?
Jack of all trades. So I teach maths, English, science, social studies, moral education. Yeah, well-being.
Moral education.
Yeah.
How old are the kids you teach?
They're 9 going on 10. So they're 9 and 10.
9 and 10.
Yeah, they turn 10 with me.
And that's the specific age group you always teach?
Yeah, I've taught that age group for 10 years, maybe 11 years.
Just on the side of it, what is very specific about this group?
Why do I like teaching this group?
Generally, at that age, what is their specific, recognizing sign?
Oh, they're becoming very aware of themselves at that age, I find. So academically, they're always striving, and that's, children love learning. And I know people may say, oh no, my kid hates going to school. No, they don't. They love to learn, really. But
and learning in school is not the same thing, right?
Well, yeah. True, yeah. But I think, they're just becoming super aware of themselves, how they fit in with their friendship groups, with society. It's quite formative years, I think, turning 10, and they're 1 year left of primary school before they move, so they're kind of becoming quite grown up, but.
They're the seniors, right?
Yeah, so they've got 1 year after being with me. They've got 1 more year, and then secondary school. So it's I find it. I love it.
How long do you teach?
How long?
Yeah.
As in the school day?
No, like are you a teacher for 10 years?
Oh, sorry. 12 altogether.
12 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, I don't look old enough, but it's true. 12 years. Yeah.
That's a lot of experience.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of experience. I was a professional dancer before I was a teacher. What? Yeah.
Professional dancer?
Yeah. So
okay, tell me more.
So I've always danced from being a child, and I went to university to study contemporary dance. So I have a contemporary dance performance degree, and then I had my own company for a while, and I did.
Okay. Step by step. What is contemporary dance?
So contemporary dance is, how would you describe it? So it's not commercial. So it's not like music video dancing. It's kind of like going to a classical ballet, but taking off the ballet shoes. And instead of pointing the toes, sometimes you flex them. And instead of making your arms look beautiful, you on purpose might try to make your arms look inverted. So it's taking something beautiful and changing it around.
And making it beautiful in another way.
Absolutely, yeah. And it was, so my degree was really, really interesting. So I worked with musicians, and I worked with actors, and I worked with artists.
You studied this?
Yeah. Yes, that's my degree. So I have like a physical degree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you said you had your own company?
Yep, so then I had my own performance company where I worked with somebody else who still is a dance performer now. And so we did that for a few years together and ran workshops and choreographed pieces.
Also, you were teaching it?
Teaching it, performing it, choreographing it, kind of jack of all trades again, doing everything.
I'm not clear about, so you have a company.
Yep.
And you're providing service of creating choreography for who? Who are your clients, or who you're doing it for?
So in the UK, we have something called the Arts Council, and they're funded by the government, and they have I'd like to say big pots of money, but probably not anymore. Probably very small pots of money.
Okay.
And they've got like 5 dirhams, and you put an application forward to say, I would really like to do this performance piece. It would benefit the local community by doing this. It would benefit the arts community by doing this, etc. And once your application is approved, they will then give you the grant, and then you can spend that money on creating your piece of art. So one of the biggest things that I did was, do you know what a Lido is? It's like an outdoor swimming. Well, every pool here is a Lido. It's an outdoor swimming pool. Mm-hmm. But in the UK, not so many Lidos. But it was the 100-year anniversary of this Lido, because it used to be, Nestle, the chocolate company.
Okay.
So they used to be owned by Rowntree's, which was based in England, and Rowntree's owned a factory, and they built a Lido for all of their workers.
So like outdoor pool.
An outdoor pool.
Okay.
Yeah. And then what they did when outdoor pools were no longer a thing is they just shoved a roof on it, but it has all of the original features of a Lido. So for the 100-year anniversary of this swimming pool, my company put together an application, and we created this crazy dance performance with a brass band playing in the pool, and we had like an Olympic swimmer, like an ex-Olympic swimmer. He was like 82. He was swimming. Then we had
82. You mean he was 1982 on the Olympics, or he was 82
years old?
Okay.
Swimming.
Okay.
So he was doing laps in the pool, and then we had performers and choreographers, and it was So that's the kind of thing I did. And then I transitioned into being a primary school teacher when I realised, I think, when you're a child and you think adults are amazing and that they know everything and that they're these phenomenal beings.
They're the gods.
They're gods, yeah. And I thought teachers were, oh my gosh, my goodness. I'd been so blessed of having such great teachers.
I was just about to say, that's probably because of teachers you met. I can't say that.
Yeah. So I'd had these phenomenal teachers, and I was working in a school doing some dance performance work, and I went to collect my kids from their classroom, and I walked in and saw this teacher and thought, oh, wait a minute, you're just like, some random adult that doesn't seem to be particularly amazing at your job.
Okay, a little bit of judgment.
Yeah, well, no, it was plain as day, and I thought, oh wow,
okay. So it was so basically, to say it in my words, she wasn't doing her job very well, and you noticed it.
Absolutely, disservice to the kids, and I just thought to myself, wow, I could probably do that actually, and
better.
So or at least on par, and still get the same salary. So I was like, I'll give it a go. So I retrained, and now I'm a teacher.
Okay, so did you need to do some credentials towards it? Or?
Yeah, loads. I went back to university. I got my postgraduate diploma.
Yeah, because you said I decided to be teacher, so I started to teach.
Sorry.
But there was a lot of process, right?
Yeah, there was a big process. Yeah.
Now it seems
okay. 12 years ago, it probably was quite stressful. I worked like 7 jobs or something crazy. So I continued with the dance company.
You worked?
Yeah, it was quite a frantic time in my life. I was like, right, I'm changing what to do. So I was teaching dance. I was doing the dance company. I was working in a provision for children who were visually impaired. So I was making Braille resources in a school and being a one-to-one support for children who needed support in school. Then I was working as a teaching assistant on a couple of mornings a week in a primary school to gain experience. And then I had another job just to make sure I could, eat and stuff. So it was,
Eat and stuff.
Yeah,
you had time for that.
I managed to eat. And that was my journey. And then I transitioned.
How long was this going on for?
That was maybe like 1.5 years, 2 years. And then I did a year of study at university. And then I moved on.
Now, when you're looking back at it, because usually the toughest times at the moment are the years that we tend to remember with a very fond memories,
definitely.
right?
Yeah.
So you had that, yeah?
Yeah,
when
definitely.
you look at it now, you're like, wow, that was so cool.
I look at it now, I'm like, oh my God, how did I manage to do that? Like, how did I do? But I have to say, I've had a few of those years. Those years, they're cyclical for me. They kind of like come back in different guises, but they come back with, so that was one of those years where, I definitely look back on it fondly. And it's just nice to learn, isn't it? You know, when you decide to make a change or to do something different and you embark on that journey, it doesn't have to be learning. Whatever it is, you decide within yourself, like, oh, this is where my path is going to lead, I think, for now. And then as soon as you start on it,
this is where you want to be in that moment.
Yeah. It feels so good. It's so every day you're like, step closer, step closer, step closer. It's really rewarding. So I do look back at it fondly.
Yeah. When I had a couple of periods where I wasn't working 7 jobs, but I was studying full-time, kind of full-time university, not like distant online or anything. It was like
every day,
daily, 4 days a week. Plus I was coaching in 2 different gyms in 2 different cities. They were 200 kilometers apart. So similar.
The struggle is real. Yeah, that's,
But like, imagine what you were doing. Like, oh my God, I
also came from a tiny village. So really, geographically, I wasn't doing the 200K. I was, it was smaller because I come from a small town in the north of England. Mm-hmm. So it was, geographically was the only thing going for it, if I'm honest.
Okay, so that was easy.
It was quite easy, Okay. I could drive like 20 minutes, half an hour to get between the different places.
Okay, so it was like all within the same area.
Same area, okay. So that was good at least.
So what was the other time you had this very intense period?
Well, it's just been, when we moved to London, so we lived in London for, I don't know, maybe like 9 years, I think, before transitioning over to living in the UAE.
I have a little bit of a problem with the timeline. How old are you?
Now?
Yeah.
No, we should never ask a lady how old she is.
I know, and I always do.
But you can ask me and it's absolutely fine. I'm 37.
Okay, I thought you're like 33 or 34.
Oh, I love you for that, but no, I'm 37. 37.
Okay, yeah, because then it started to be like, okay, so when
how
you did 9 years this, and then I know that you are here at least for 5 years?
This is the end. This will actually be the end of my 6th year.
6th year, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
maybe I lived in London for maybe 8 years. Oh.
I mean, that doesn't make a big difference.
It doesn't really make a change.
At what point you met Chris? Because you said we moved to London.
When did I meet Chris? When I was 11.
Okay.
So that, I mean, he predates all of the...
All right.
So when I was 11, I met Chris. And then we started dating when I was 14. And then now we've been together for 22 years.
No way.
Yeah,
22 years.
Yeah, totally, So 22 years. So I'm thankful because he's my favourite, but I'm also thankful because of all the trials and tribulations that life throws at you that we all experience in different ways. Having someone to share it all with has been, such a blessing. Yeah.
So he was basically your only boyfriend?
100%, yeah.
Only boyfriend, straight into husband, father of your kids?
Yeah, done. Finished.
Nice. Is he older than you?
By 1 year.
By 1 year, okay.
Yeah, so barely.
I wouldn't say that either. I would say he's 38. Yeah. Wow, nice.
Yeah. So we're that
for you guys.
Forever couple. Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool.
From 40. Oh shit.
Yeah, I know. Cool. Crazy.
Because like when you say that, like we are 22 years together, like you expect somebody in 50s to say that.
I know, right? When I say to people, they're like, "Oh." Well, it goes through 2 camps. Some people are like, that's so nice that you can have been with someone for so long. And then other people are like, that's so weird that you can have been with someone for so long. I'm like, no, it's not weird. But I can see it. It's totally weird.
Look, I know you.
Yeah.
When I meet you and I know how you communicate and how you're together, I would never say it's a weird because it obviously works for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, true. And we kind of took our own paths in life because he was a professional musician and then he veered off into doing other things, and so we've kind of...
He was a musician?
Yeah. He plays guitar.
He plays guitar?
Yeah.
Professionally?
Yeah, they had a record deal and they had albums and so he was doing that. I was doing dancing and then stopped doing those things and started doing other things. Yeah, so it's nice. We've just
nice
the adventure of life.
Yeah. So because you said we moved to London, so that's why I wanted to make sure where Chris is coming in. But he was all the way there.
He's
ingrained.
So
you moved to London?
Yeah, we moved to London. So life there is just quite hectic. I don't know if it's different kind of hectic to here. So it was just quite busy, and that's where actually I fell in love with training. I met Chris was quite busy working, and I had quite a bit of free time. So I used to go to the gym, but I used to walk on the treadmill. Just walk, just chill, walk. Maybe like listen to a bit of music.
So you're driving to the gym to walk on the treadmill. That type.
enjoy that logic. Yeah, that's what I would do. And I met this girl who's now a really good friend, and she's an ex-professional footballer, and she was like,
like soccer.
Yeah,
soccer.
Like
okay.
Soccer, yeah.
We are in England, so it's football.
Yeah, it's football for me. Yeah. And she came up to me. She was like, "It's really annoying me watching you come to the gym every day, because you're not doing anything." And I was like, "Oh, but I'm because I'm not sure if you've noticed, quite chatty." So I would be on the treadmill and people would, stop, have a 10-minute chat with me, then they'd go and then someone else would come. And, so I was like, making friends because that was my goal. So I would be chatting away to people, and she was like, it's winding me up because everybody else talks to you for 10 minutes and that's their water break. And then they go and exercise. But what you're doing is you're being everybody's water break.
You just have a constant water break. I'm
just a constant water break. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's very true. And at the time, I was like 82 kgs. I was quite a cuddly human, bigger. I guess. Yeah, so I was, bigger. And not necessarily a lot of muscle mass going on. So that 82 kgs was, distributed elsewhere. And she was like, I just think, if you exercised, I was like, oh God, I don't want to. I'm not that interested. I just want to make friends. But then it kind of like sparks.
I want to make friends, but at night I can't.
Exactly. Like I'd have to go out to a bar at night and make friends. And that's really intense. I don't want to go there on my own. So this is like a nice space to make friends where everybody's on the right level and everyone's just drinking water and it's really normal. Anyway, so that started my passion of exercise. And that became, for a while, when the idea of being on a journey and being on a pathway and wanting to do something. So then I was training quite a lot. And
so you're training with her?
Yeah, then we just became training partners. Mm-hmm. Yeah. In the mornings and in the afternoons. So then my life became hectic because I suddenly found this passion for something that I never thought I had. Even though I'd had a physical job as a dancer, it was, for me, a totally different, because I always saw dance as art, not as like a physicality thing. Like I never went to the gym as a dancer. Like dance
is not a sport.
No, not
dance
a sport
is an
for
art.
me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like I'd never go to the gym.
I had this conversation and fight with so many girls.
Oh, really?
Before. Yeah, because I was in sport academy in Denmark, and the whole specialization there was a dance, So when you talked about, and I was doing CrossFit and they were doing dance. Yeah. So, then you tease and you just talk and it's like, okay, yeah, you're tired from, we did Fran. Like, like you can't be tired
you
from the dance.
You pointed your toes,
right?
like, what have you done really?
But I mean, I take it, like, I agree that it's hard, or I agree it can be hard if it's done in a certain way. Yeah. And it can be intense, like an exercise, right? Like you can do it the way you were doing it before.
You could do 10 minutes on the treadmill having a chat, or
And, but then, like, I wouldn't call dance sport, even though I know that many people are putting it into that category because it's physical and you can compete, from this perspective. But I mean, you can compete in
writing competitions,
many things,
maths competitions, spelling
which
bees.
are kind of physical, right? Yeah. Because if chess is a sport, then writing is a sport as well, then, right? Because you do pretty much similar, similar movement, and it can be put into a competition.
and it's systematic, and you have to make choices.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think, but it's weird though, isn't it? Because then you'd say, well, is gymnastics a sport? Yes.
Yeah.
Right? So gymnastics is a sport, but dance isn't. But gymnastics and dance have so many shared practices and
what they call it? The
physicalities.
The gymnastic, because you can have the modern gymnastic, right?
Yeah.
And
like rhythmical gymnastics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then you have rhythmical. Thank you. Yeah.
And then it becomes like, the ribbon dance. And you're like, oh, so you're getting points for artistic merit. But is artistic merit a physical? Is it a sport? Or because it's so subjective, which is why I think for me, dance isn't particularly a sport, because it's so subjective. Because one person's beautiful, well, thank goodness, which is why, we can all find different people attractive, and because one person's beautiful is one person's ugly. So when you're creating a dance, you're not being, I can do, 18 cartwheels and one backflip in 2.5 minutes. It's, I'm trying to either convey a message or make someone feel something. And making someone feel something isn't sport, apart from when you want to make someone feel knackered doing Fran. But, like to have that kind of...
But then you can, as a spectator, you can feel a lot.
You can, yeah.
That's the whole thing,
sport,
why the fans are going there, for the emotion, right?
Yeah, for the empathy, for the... Yeah. But not the same... not
the same way as
dance, yeah. So anyway, that sparked my love of fitness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So this is probably one of the most craziest stories I've heard about how somebody got into fitness, because you came to the gym with no intention to actually train.
No,
but people in that environment kind of made you.
Yeah.
One person.
Yeah.
Particularly.
Actually, there was a few. She started my journey, and then one of my very, very good friends now, he does lots of stunt work in films, and he's in lots of like action films, and he's a producer. He does all this. He's super inspiring. But he'd snapped his Achilles doing like a rebound backflip thing. So there was just this guy with a massive cast on his leg hobbling around the gym, and he also was like, right. So she got me into like cardio fitness. And then about 3 months later, maybe 4 months later, this dude, Joey is his name, rocked up, and he got me into weightlifting. And he and I were weightlifting partners at the gym.
Okay, so you're doing cardio with this girl?
Cardio with Laura,
some kind of intervals or something?
Yeah, we would... it's interesting, now I do CrossFit. I see so many similarities for how I trained with her with CrossFit, just because it's interval training, or it's
and she was training. A WOD. She was training for her soccer. Or?
She'd finished her soccer career. Actually, now she owns a CrossFit gym. So
so cool.
So we all do. we all circle back.
And
to
what
CrossFit.
Is Joey doing?
Same. He's acting and and still doing. Yeah, he's doing super well. So he got me into weightlifting. But I have to say, though, that idea of going to a gym to make friends, I stand by it as being the best choice for me for meeting people. I know that when we moved here, the first thing I did was join a gym. Like the first thing I did.
Which gym you joined in the
here I joined Fitness First, and loved it, because I would go and train and talk to people, and I would train hard. Like my training had changed quite dramatically, and I had changed physically quite a lot in that time, but my mentality is still kind of the same. I just want to have a nice chat and a nice time.
Okay.
And then someone introduced me.
The goal is still the same.
The goal is the same. Friendship.
Results coming.
Yeah. There is, but that's so nice, right? Like the
very
fitness
cool.
is a secondary thing.
But maybe that's why it works.
I think it is why it works.
Yeah, because you're not like obsessing about numbers, about anything. You just want to have a good time.
Exactly.
And this is very interesting point, because many people, they'll work super hard and they'll beat themselves up over the numbers. I should have go heavier. I should have gone faster. If you finish the workout on a negative note, mentally in your flight, like you're not enjoying it, you will have way higher cortisol response than if you just enjoy it. So even you don't work as hard, but you have a good time, it might be way more beneficial because that cortisol response and other things are going on there as well.
Yeah.
It will slow down your recovery. It will suppress the testosterone response, which means slowing down the recovery. Yeah. It will do so much unnecessary damage. You probably had that in CrossFit as well because, when there's a little bit of competition and so on, you can have a workout where you crush it. You just feel so good. And you can have the same workout, same time, but somebody next to you got a better time and it will destroy it for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, it's so crazy that the results are so much about how we look at the
It's all about perspective.
Itself. Yeah.
All about perspective. I totally agree.
And you are like a living example of that you don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You just want to have a good time.
Absolutely,
you come there.
Yeah. And I'm not lazy. I work bloody hard. I go to the gym and I push myself. If someone's having a nightmare, like across the rig from me, I'll take 30 seconds and have a chat with them in the middle of I'm not going to die. I'm not going to the games,
Yeah.
I'd like to think I am, but I'm not.
But, the problem with many people is that they think they are, or they have a shot at it, because it's not like anybody's coming to any sport with a certain goal, right?
Yeah.
But in a CrossFit, you can see so many people starting, and it's like, well, okay, burpee sucks, assault bike sucks. If I will learn a little bit more technique here and I will get better at my gymnastics, I will lose some weight so I'm lighter. I can do that.
Yeah, I can do a muscle up now.
Yeah, I can do.
Yeah.
And then you, especially when you see so great progress at the beginning, because CrossFit
those beginner gains are great, aren't they? Yeah.
The methodology just works very well, right? So when you see that big improvement, especially for somebody who wasn't moving any way before, or were doing very specialized programs that were towards certain goal, but like very specific sport-oriented training, and then they come to CrossFit and it's like, oh shit, like if I do this a little bit more, I can be better, a little bit more, and they just do volume, a lot of it, and they have that perspective, like I need to do this time today, or
yeah, and you're like, or what?
Yeah, and they're beating themselves up, but to be true, like how many people are actually making the games?
Yeah. And it's nice the thing is, it's good to have, it's all that kind of like cheesy, it's you versus you. It's like, you versus you last year, and it's, where you need to be. But I believe it so wholeheartedly. Like, it is only ever you versus you. Coming back from having a baby has been, if I had a mentality that was competitive, I'm going to have to go super hard on this, and I don't think I would have made any of the kind of gains that I have done. Yeah.
I want to definitely talk about it more.
Sorry, yeah.
Let's go a little bit more back.
Yeah.
Okay. So you come to Dubai. Yeah. You start training here.
Yes.
You have a teaching job here?
Yes.
Straight away. Yeah, you came for teaching here. Okay. Yeah. And so you're having good time?
Yeah.
In the gym.
Putting on that Dubai stone, like everybody is. Absolutely.
And at what time or at what point do you guys start to plan a baby?
Oh, before we came here. So I'm one of those people that I don't plan too far ahead. Because I think if you spend your life having boxes that you want to tick, all you'll ever do is tick the box. You'll never feel kind of super accomplished. So if it's like, oh, I either did the thing I set out to do, you're like, good. Or I failed at it, bad. Not, oh my gosh, this has happened. And just enjoy that kind of moment. But we knew we wanted a family.
Or maybe not enjoying the moment itself, only for that one
for that
moment
one
at
moment.
the end.
Yeah. But then as soon as you've ticked that box, you're kind of a little bit like, what's the next box? Because someone who lives like that never only has one box to tick, right?
That's the dopamine reward.
Right?
You just get one. Okay,
what's next?
What's next?
Yeah.
That's also a problem with people who, worn out, cheesy saying like, okay, but are you ready to actually accomplish your goal? Because what happens then? You know?
Yeah, because you're going to feel
so many
the low when you finish.
So many people have that with their degrees and education. It's like working so hard to get the degree and you finish the degree and it's like, and what now?
Yeah,
you know?
It's a big thing for people if people go crazy and organize these massive, amazing weddings and it becomes their life's ambition to have this really cool wedding, which I'm all about, you do you, sounds great. But then after the wedding, you get like wedding blues because it's over. And now what? God, now you just have to be married. Oh, God.
The hype is over.
Yeah, the hype's over.
Because it wasn't about getting married in a meaning of the marriage.
No.
That wasn't the goal, but the wedding was the goal.
And
that event was the goal.
Planning an event is awesome, but...
you had wedding?
Yeah.
You're married, right?
We had a huge wedding.
Oh, yeah. Well...
No, do you know what? We had a kind of a huge in a way wedding. We did a family thing, but then we organised this, I don't know how to describe it.
Party.
It was like a sports day. So we rented, out this old cinema in the village because Chris and I have obviously been together since the dawn of time. So the village that we come from, we rented out this cinema, but they take all the chairs away. So it's just this big empty space with a big stage. And because Chris was a musician, we had lots of our musician friends, and my mum's partner's a musician. So he performed and lots of our friends performed. And then everybody was put into a team, a different coloured team. And then throughout the day, we had a tug of war, we had pull-up competition, we had table tennis competitions. And
wow, there was like a community event for everybody.
Yeah, it was. Because, it was nice. Obviously, Chris and I were really excited to be married. But let's be honest, who really gives a crap about us being married apart from us? Like, you meet someone in the street, like, oh, I'm married. They're like, great, I don't care. Like, it makes no difference. So we were like, we wanted to do something that was kind of a way of saying thanks for supporting us in our relationship.
All your idea, yeah?
Chris and I.
Both together. Yeah. Amazing.
For sure.
It's so cool.
It was really cool. But yeah, so having a baby, we decided, that we wanted to have children, one child. Obviously, you can do the maths of the fact I'm pregnant again with my second, but we wanted to have.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we wanted to have a child, but it was I'd struggled. I was having quite a lot of issues, like with my menstrual cycle, and trying to sort that out. And I think it ended up in 5 years from deciding to have a kid to Roxy hitting terra firma. Yeah.
And what was the problems, if you don't mind?
No, not at all. I think the problem was not knowing what the problem was, which I think, you can blame the National Health Service of the UK or whatever. But actually, the human body, like we were saying, that everybody's unique and different. Even if someone's has so much experience, everyone kind of comes, oh, it could be this or it could be that. And so there was a lot of chat about, maybe I was exercising too much, or maybe I was too stressed, or maybe I'd gone through the early menopause. I had no female hormones. One doctor.
So you were going through the tests as well, yeah?
Yeah, quite a lot, like a lot of testing. Mm-hmm. What was my favorite one was that my uterus was shriveled like an old lady's. I was like, I feel really good about that. I feel great.
What?
Yeah.
How he came to that conclusion?
So they did so when they do all their scans and etc., that because I had so few female hormones, my uterus had shriveled and shrunk. And I'm not a doctor and I'm definitely not a specialist, so there's obviously a multitude of reasons why that can happen.
But it was your body.
But it's my body, and I'm a specialist in me. Yeah. So all of this was kind of happening, and then I went on quite a lot of hormone treatment things to try and even my body out. And then, so that kind of happened. Then fell pregnant, and then I had 2 miscarriages, and then Roxy arrived. No, thank you.
Part of the process.
Absolutely, yeah. And obviously I just wasn't...
Was it like early miscarriages?
I had one at 12 weeks. So not so, it was not
that early.
It didn't feel early.
Yeah.
It felt like a situation, you know. And that was quite hard. That one was really hard because obviously it'd been such a long journey to get there. I was like, right, this is it. Done. Like, relax. I was like, oh, shit, no, not done, not relax, you know. So then that happened. And then we waited maybe like a year. And then I had a really early miscarriage on a plane. Oh my gosh, it was the worst. And then,
a lot of blaming, huh?
Huh?
You were blaming yourself?
No, on the plane, on an aeroplane.
No, I understand,
did
but I
blame
mean,
myself?
like, were you blaming yourself for going to the plane? You know? Like,
no,
okay,
nothing to do with the
good,
plane.
good.
Nah, it was just a pain in the arse. So I was like, oh, for Christ's sake, this is not what I need right now. No, I think
you say it so casually. Oh,
well, it's how you view it, right? Because
not everybody.
No, but it's as in without. I mean, inshallah, everything is okay now. Having a miscarriage is the worst experience that's ever happened to me. Like, it's the worst thing that I could ever have experienced. Or not, I don't know. It's the worst thing I have ever experienced up until now. We never know what the future holds. But, but, you know, I'm all right and everything's okay. And, you know, Chris and I are fine. And so I kind of think, you know, I can not wallow in it. And I did, you know, I had my time and I grieved and I did all that. But now, you know, I don't have to speak with it with such, you know, irreverence. And, it was bad. It was really shit. It was really shit. And if it happens to anybody, it's really shit. And like...
What do you think helped you? Because miscarriages are way more common than we normally think.
The statistic is crazy, isn't it? And I've lost the
statistic. It's like every fourth?
3 in 5 or... It's a really high statistic.
Yeah.
What helped me, probably talking about it, helped me a lot. Having supportive people here, because obviously, you know, you're far away from home.
It was happening here?
Yeah, that all happened. All happened here, yeah.
Okay. That was also more difficult.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think one thing that we're really lucky, all of us, most of us in Dubai, is that you come here and you don't have any family. And you make family out of friends, especially if you go to the gym and you just walk on the treadmill. You make loads of friends that way.
The right ones.
Yeah, the good ones. Yeah,
you pick the good ones.
Yeah. So you meet all these people, and we're all kind of in the same boat. You know, lots of us are away from our families, or we're used to the transient lifestyle of Dubai, and you take people under your wing really quickly.
Especially the first half a year here. Everybody has the same problems.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's dealing with the same. You need to take care of the
everyone's
rent.
having a bad time with do. Everyone's struggling with the D-word. We don't know what we're doing. You know, we realise that there's no public transport, or there is now, but at the time it was stressful.
But using public transport, good luck with that.
Yeah, it's difficult. Yeah,
you need to really calculate it right to be on the metro line.
To get to where you need to be. Absolutely. So I think going through that whole miscarriage stage, obviously Chris was phenomenal. Really good.
Obviously, it's Chris.
Yeah, he's a good human. But then having just so much support from everybody here was amazing.
So you were fairly open about it?
Yeah. I'm fairly open about most things, if I'm honest.
Yeah. I noticed.
So I just
when it happens to some ladies, they have a problem that they feel ashamed because they kind of blame it on incapacity of their body, or my body betrayed me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was it happening to?
Yeah, probably. In those like can't go to sleep and it's 2 a.m. and you've got loads of thoughts in your head and that horrible knot in your stomach and you can't lie down because your thoughts are deafening you and that kind of feeling, and you get really, really hot, when that kind of feeling. I definitely had many of those nights.
Wow.
Which is to be expected. But do I blame myself retrospectively now? Of course not. No. Okay. It's just the way that, it's just what happens.
There's this guy, Huberman, I don't know if you know him. I think Chris would know. He has a Huberman. I can't pronounce it. Huberman podcast.
I think it's Huberman.
Yeah. So he had a couple of weeks ago. He had amazing episode about grief. What actually grief is, why we going through the grief, and 3 aspects of the grief. And it was a mind blow. I mean, I definitely recommend to listen to that Huberman podcast about grief, because I can only, he's a professor on, I think, Stanford of neurophysiology. So,
he kind of knows what he's talking about. So you're going to butcher this maybe a little bit, but we'll go for it.
I don't want to mess it up too much, When he was talking about that, it has like the grief also because of they find it out through the scans of the brain. And what is going on, and then they kind of found out the psychological explanation for it, where the grief has 3 aspects, and it's place, physical, or time, and the third one is your closeness to the either object, event, whatever it is, because you can grieve about breakup.
Yeah.
It's kind of like grieving about that person, but it's not really, because the person is still alive. It can be losing object that is extremely significant to you, like a ring after grandma or, anything. So basically, the idea is that we perceive all in our lives based on the proximity of these 3 elements.
Oh, that's cool.
You know that you can see your sibling, mom, dad, in certain time, on certain place. And your brain, any thought you have about them, is evaluating it based on your emotional closeness. That will kind of determine the intensity of it. And then okay, well, how long it takes to see your mom? She's in the UK. She's in the UK. It would take you probably maybe 24 hours to organize everything and get there if you need to, right? And in a moment of death, especially, or any grieving event, this time proximity line is shattered, because you don't know or are kind of aware that you will never see them again. Never talk to them, regardless how close they are. The timeline is shattered, So this is what grief basically is. And that's why it takes time to adapt to it. Because anytime you have some significant kind of message that is emotionally reminding you that person, it causes a clash of what your brain is used to perceive and what is it perceiving now.
Yeah, it's kind of finding that new normal, that new baseline, right?
So when he was talking about it, like he was picking up phone of his friend, I believe it was like his friend phone, because the wife of the friend was calling him from that phone, and he saw the name, and he had that, like, even years after that, he had this feeling like, oh my God, he's calling me. But the friend was gone.
Yeah.
So it's super interesting how brain works.
Yeah.
And that it's nothing bad, that we need to go through that.
Yeah.
And also to acknowledge and being aware that our brain is not going to fix it rationally.
No.
Yeah, just thinking like, okay, he's gone, whatever. It's like, okay, well, we broke up. It was because of this. Move on. That doesn't work. That doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Because the emotions are way too strong. And especially the pathways that are used to that remembrance of significance, place, and time, they are already built so strong that you're kind of rebuilding these structures.
Yeah.
Which is, I found it super fascinating.
That is super fascinating. That's really interesting.
So how long it took you to kind of like, I don't want to say like normalize, but to kind of like settle and being ready to move on?
Maybe like 8 months.
8 months?
6-8 months for me, yeah.
And have you had any physical like consequences?
No. You know how they say that you hold loads of tension in your stomach if you've had like emotional,
this
emotional
anxiety
things
is up here.
happen
Yeah.
to you. Yeah. I had like a women's physio appointment, and straight away this was actually for sorting out my C-section, which was a whole other exciting adventure. But when I went for a massage, the physio, she was phenomenal, and she immediately was like, "Oh, have you had like?" And she straight away was like, "Has something happened? Have you had a miscarriage before?" I was like, "Yeah." She said, "Wow, yeah, you can." She could feel it.
She could feel it. Yeah,
in my stomach. I mean, I'm not sure how much of I was straight away like, "Wow, that's phenomenal."
Body keeps the score.
Right?
It's all stored somewhere.
Yeah. But no, I feel. No, I don't. Aside from that, no, not particularly.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just that kind of the mental thing of thinking, right, okay, should we try again? And yeah. And then falling pregnant with Roxy during COVID was super fun. Super fun,
Why?
So.
Okay, so sorry to interrupt you. When you were going for Roxy, you had some other treatments. You're taking some other.
Yeah, so I was taking quite a lot of like hormone medication, things to kind of kickstart my body into being an awesome female.
The uterus, right? To
bring
tell
it back
it that
to
you're
life.
still young.
Yeah, to remind it that it could do this. Give it that pep talk it really needed. So I did all that, and we were actually on the brink of IVF. Because it's quite a journey to have to remember there's so many women that go through this difficult, well, men and women, but go through this like sort of fertility issues, and it's just such a journey, and even with the most supportive partner ever, you're like, oh God, I just really want this. That it tires you out quite a lot. And we still weren't sure if things would happen. And it's a lot of that kind of like things that you like, pathways, and knowing that you're on a journey to somewhere. But with fertility and pregnancy, you don't know. It's still like you might. You might or you might not. You're like, I can't work with this sort of level of uncertainty forever. Like, it's slowly wearing me down. And I'm a super positive, upbeat person. And I was like, bloody hell, this is hard.
But funny enough, maybe that's because we were not that close at that time, but I knew at that time.
Yeah.
But I would never say you're going through anything like that.
No.
When we were meeting, always the same, super positive, super chatty.
Yeah, always.
Always. Yeah.
Like
you it didn't seem to, at least for maybe the broader
people that
circle of people you are meeting, like it wasn't really visible at all.
No, good. I don't know if I should say good, but yeah, as in, well, I think you kind of you get back what you put out in the world, right? So if you put out stress and worry and fear and insecurity, if I put that out, I would probably get some of that back. Because it's kind of what you end up attracting, and it's the conversations you end up having with people. So for me, being able to be that other kind of part of me, that kind of more carefree, enjoying the moment, talking to people, making other people feel good, it then energizes you, it charges your battery and allows you to go back into those other feelings from a more positive perspective. Mm-hmm. I always find. So I think, flipping the place where you are and being around people who feed you that good energy, for me, it's always useful. Even if you're going through super tough turmoil, it helped me, definitely. So yeah, hopefully you wouldn't have known, because I was too busy feeding off your positive energy, putting it in my battery that I could use for later.
Well, probably worked.
Yeah,
so
well, it did.
good.
It did. It definitely did.
Yeah.
So that was good. Yeah, and then.
So was there anything right now with that being almost 3 years? Yeah. 3 years away. Yeah. Can you say what was the breaking like point where like what you did differently that it worked out, or you can't say it just happened?
Just happened. No, actually, that's a lie. That's a massive lie. I know exactly what it is. I don't know why I said that. Yeah, no, I don't know. It was we relaxed. I just relaxed because I decided. Not I. There's no I in it. We decided we were going to go for IVF. Or we were going to start the journey towards IVF, because I know that is a long and tumultuous road as well. And we were like, right, because we'd had lots of conversations with lots of specialists, and they were like, yeah, this is, maybe IVF is your option. We're like, okay, cool. I went for my first tests at the hospital, at the clinic, to check how many eggs I had, and if they were all ready for the job. And they didn't notice I had already fallen pregnant, but it didn't come up because obviously the baby's like nothing at that point.
It was that early?
Yeah.
But you already went for a...
Yeah, so we'd gone for the tests.
And you didn't know?
No, I
either.
didn't know. Okay. No, the northerner in me. So I don't know if you know this about people from the north of England. We're meant, the stereotype of people from the north is that we don't like spending money.
I didn't know
and
that.
So it's like a UK joke,
Okay.
It's my dad. What does my dad say? That we've got short arms and long pockets. So the money is always at the bottom of the pocket, and your hand doesn't reach it. And so I was like, oh, maybe my body's definitely northern. So I paid the first little bit of money, and then my body was like, whoa, I see what's happening here. No.
We're not spending this.
I got you, girl. I got you. Let's give her a baby quick. So, but I think it's because I relaxed.
So you tapped into your true nature.
I tapped into the motherland, and it was fine. No, but I think it was my body relaxing, finally relinquishing the responsibility of having to create a child, and feeling like every month was a test that I'd either pass or fail, and I'd been failing, and I think...
I mean, like, you said 5 years, right? With a little break in between.
Yeah.
That's fucking
crazy. It's a load of fucking failed tests, right?
You just, the expectation.
Yeah.
Again.
Oh, shit, every time.
Again. And,
yeah.
And
also, like, having a period is fucking annoying anyway for people. So you're like, oh no, I failed the test. And it's rubbish, and my boobs are sore, and I've got a spot, So yeah. So I think
there was some persistence.
Yeah.
Like just like
absolute. The grit is
the grit is real.
Yeah, the grit is real. Absolutely. And so I think I finally just relaxed.
Just into came my mind, Integrit.
Yeah.
The name, it's intent and grit. You're like an impersonation.
I am. I'm an embodiment of the name.
The intent and the grit.
Yeah, definitely. So then I relaxed, and then we fell pregnant. Then I rung up the clinic, and I was like, dudes, you need to check on your scanning equipment, because I was already pregnant when you were telling me, yeah, you've got a couple of good eggs. Damn right I have. I've got one cooking right now. What's this?
You should be like, that was a test. Give me my money back.
Exactly. And you failed.
I'm a YouTuber.
Yeah. I'm a secret shopper. Exactly.
If you don't want me to publish that.
I should have, actually. It would have saved me some cash, which I could use now. So then we fell pregnant with Roxy. And that was, it's just that thing. I've, as somebody who trains, I know I sold myself as somebody that goes to the gym just to chat, and I do.
Not like you work hard,
but I work. I mean, look,
you were 82 kilos. You said, right?
Yeah.
Now
up the duff and whatever. But usually I'm like 58 to 60.
Yeah. So let's say now,
and that's like my blueprint now. Like, as in, I can go out and eat whatever, or and it's like
sustainable.
That's my sustainable way. Yeah.
So no shit that something worked. It's not only that. Chetty Ellen.
No, it's not. Definitely no. I work hard. I do work hard. So then it became this kind of working out how I was going to maintain my training, which for me is as important as eating, you know? Like
you kind of mentioned it, like you never really thought that you're training too hard and that's why you can't get pregnant. Even doctors were saying it, you didn't believe that.
No.
Okay.
No, or maybe I wasn't ready to believe it at the time. And,
yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Like, so I'd be like, no,
it
definitely
might be
not.
everything else but this.
Yeah, exactly. It's what's the quote from Macbeth? Like, I think the lady doth protest too much. Like, as in, I think it might be true because I'm saying no so loudly. But you know, I might as well stand by that girl and say, yeah, no, it definitely wasn't that. Because it would feel bad that it wouldn't be that for so long. So, but
it probably wasn't that because you got pregnant.
Actually, it's not that at all. I know exactly what. Again, God, you're bringing out all my memories. I have a. Sorry, I realise I sound like such a.
That's okay. That's okay.
So
I know what you mean.
I say stuff and I'm like, that's just a lie. Just lying.
Because many times we tend to forget.
Yeah.
And that's why I like to go in these conversations like a timeline.
Yeah, chronologically, it's
because
great.
Then people will start to actually remembering things they even thought.
I need to live my life like this.
They didn't know, you know.
So
but think about it, like when you go sit and chat about all your life for an hour or two with somebody, right?
I never do this.
Yeah,
it's great. This is such a treat. Can I just say? It's really nice.
I had the Mike.
Oh yeah,
I saw. Mike?
I saw.
Yeah.
He gave me a really nice bike for Roxy. He's such a good guy.
He's amazing guy. Yeah,
nice
he has daughter like seven. Yeah. Hey, he's amazing, and he texted me after recording. He was like, "Thank you for making me realize how awesome my life was and is."
Right?
You know, I was like, "That's cool."
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah, I was so happy because he was like, "Oh, it was like this." I can't remember specifically, but and then he got the timeline, and he was so happy about just acknowledging
and just remembering everything, right? Yeah, it's great.
So, what was the answer to that?
So, my answer was I actually have a genetic condition which I totally forgot that I had, which I shouldn't forget because it's kind of important. I know. So I didn't find out until I was pregnant with Roxy that I have something called, I'm going to absolutely butcher the name, hemochromatosis. Hemochromatosis.
Okay, that's something with blood?
Yeah, so it means that my body can't get rid of the iron. So my body stores iron.
Oh, so there's like opposite of anemia.
Exactly, yes. And one of the, so I went for this test and I thought I was going to be a carrier because turns out my dad was a carrier, blah, 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 blah.
What do you mean carrier?
Like, you know how, so you have to have, if you have just one of the genes, you just carry it and you can pass it on to the next generation, or you can be a sufferer because you have two.
I didn't know the terminology in English, so thank you.
So, no, my pleasure.
Carrier and sufferer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they called me. I'm like, oh, yeah, no, you've got this gene, blah, blah, blah. I said, oh, so I'm a carrier. Then, no, you're a sufferer. I said, no, you've got the terminology wrong. What you mean is I'm a carrier because I've got it one. And they were like, no, as the medical professionals. I was like, oh. Okay, all right then. As the medical professionals, you're a sufferer. I was like, oh. So then I had to go in for this, big thing, but they couldn't do a load of testing because I was already pregnant. And, but infertility is a big thing.
With
so hemochromatosis. Yeah. So I was like, there you go. I could train all I bloody well like.
And always enough iron.
Yeah, exactly. And
Okay, so what is the treatment for that?
So it's quite interesting actually. So if it gets really bad, you have to do something called bloodletting, which is kind of like dialysis. So they take your blood out, wash out the iron, shove it back in kind of situation.
Wow.
And that's it can be quite a regular thing dependent on how you're suffering, etc. But you can also control it through diet.
There you go.
So I was like, sweet, I'll just do whatever you tell me. That's fine. But it's things that increase iron absorption. So vitamin C, which as somebody who trains quite a lot, I love a vitamin C effervescent. Whack that in a big bottle of water and I'm happy for days. No, can't have those anymore. Not allowed to have.
So you can't have vitamin C?
No, you can't have because the vitamin C increases the iron absorption.
Okay.
So then it was, you can't have.
They ordered you vitamin C depletion, basically.
Yeah. So I couldn't, red meat, not having as much red meat.
That has iron itself.
Yeah. And it was, the two different types of iron and the absorption rate of those irons. And if I can have spinach, I was like, oh, please let me have spinach. I love it.
Overrated.
You think spinach is overrated?
Absolutely, yes.
But it tastes so nice. I'm just talking about taste.
That's fine.
Saute that with a bit of garlic.
If you like it, that's cool. But don't consider it extremely necessary in your diet. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And it was perfect because they sung from the same hymn sheet as you, and they were like, it's spinach, you're all right. And I was like, great, so keep that coming. But then it was just the learning around, I can have vitamin C, but if you have it with dairy, the dairy blocks the absorption. So it was suddenly,
because of the calcium?
Yeah, so suddenly I was drinking orange juice with a yogurt, and that was kind of like I could do it that way if I wanted orange juice.
That's already like pregnant
breakfast,
tastes,
right? And it's just called breakfast, isn't it? Really? So I was like, all right, that makes sense. So I just kind of steer away from those. I try and not have so much of the things that I know, because I think the amount that I might fancy having steak 5 nights a week. Do I fancy it more than I fancy not having to go and have my blood washed, every month for the rest of my life? No, probably not. Yeah. So it swings and roundabouts, right? So it's working out.
Have you had any diet before, specific diet?
For the hemochromatosis or for my life?
No, before, also when you were training and when you started training, have you been tapping into nutrition much? Or?
Definitely, with a husband who's a nutrition coach, definitely.
But that's sometimes exact opposite, right?
So absolutely, pregnancy me is a little bit different. But yeah, I've been through with nutrition. I've been through just a bit of a journey of zero knowledge to knowledge. So I'm the kid I'm the grown up who would eat a jar of Nutella with a tablespoon. And that wouldn't have been a problem.
Have you ever choked on peanut butter?
No.
You know that feeling? No, it happened. I mean, it's not happening to many people, but it definitely happened to me.
That's very sad.
But it's not like choking, but it's kind of like choking, because when you eat the thick part of it, that is not that oily, like at the end of the jar, or and when you swallow, when it's dry, and when you swallow too big part of it at once, it basically, you feel how it goes down very slowly. But there are two pipes next to each other, right? The breathing one and then the food one.
Pipe, yeah.
So as it was going down,
the was food just knocking
one,
into
yes. So the food one is so stretched. It's stretchy.
It's restricting your breathing.
It's restricting your breathing.
Like a snake when they eat like an entire lamb.
And it's just going down throat. You feel chest pain until it passes the lungs, and then it's fine. So okay, next one.
That's an experience. Let's go again. Hit me again.
So that's how I learned to eat peanut butter with the banana.
Yes.
Because banana makes it very
nice and soft.
Yes,
yeah, that's good.
Anyway.
So I went through this kind of I had zero idea about nutrition at all, and didn't exercise. That's my life was, I was just having a good time. I was just enjoying my life, working 7 jobs, but having a great time about it. And then I got into exercise and training, and then realized what a carb was, and what fats were and what protein was, because everybody used to say they're doing this whole I'm having no what do people used to say, no dairy, I'm on a no dairy diet, and I'd be like, I was really young, I was like, what is that? What do you mean no dairy? How do you do that? It's ridiculous. So I went from that phase of my life, and then I transitioned into the second phase, which I started to look at what I was eating, and I would eat still quite a lot, because I've I've never been one of those people that would, oh no, I'm only having 1,200 calories a day because my fitness pal told me to kind of people. So I would then I used to eat maybe 3,500 calories a day was my and then I weighed 59 kg, like I was eating, but wow. I was walking, like living in London. We sold our car to buy a house, to buy an apartment. So we were walking everywhere. I was training twice a day. The calories, the expenditure of calories in my life was high. But then I kind of became very restricted on what I would eat. And I would only have, people who have been my friends for a long time and know me from London would be so surprised to see me eat a varied diet, because I would eat the same thing for breakfast, the same.
I'm like that. Same thing all the time.
Yeah, it will be the same thing all the time. But I imagine, I don't know why you do that, but I know I did that because it was what made me feel safe, because I felt that I'd finally, after all these years of doing what the hell I wanted and living this bohemian, drinking this, eating that, whatever lifestyle, I was I had some structure, and I became very, I love structure. Structure's my favorite. I love routine.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm yes, if I know what I'm doing, if I've got a time to, brilliant. I'm all about that life. But I let food slip too deeply into, for me, not for anybody, but for me, too deeply into structure. And I kind of took away the enjoyment of food.
Well, that's why I do it, because I, for whatever reason, from the maybe childhood, maybe past, I don't know, but however sad this sounds for many people, I don't eat food for the taste of it, almost at all.
Yeah.
I even feel bad for Timea sometimes when she'll cook something very, very good, because...
And she's a great cook.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, she's really good. Yeah.
And you give her 2 ingredients and she'll make you 5.
A banquet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. 5-course dinner, I don't appreciate it enough because I can't. I'm not used to it. Sometimes I'll be oh wow, this is amazing. However, it's not do this better. I will not tell her yesterday's dinner was
salt.
better and you add this. No, if you give me a plain mass of something, what I know is from a good source and it has enough nutrients, I will eat it.
Yeah.
If you give me...
You kind of look at it like the Matrix, it's
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just...
Fuel in, fuel out kind of situation.
Yeah, for me, it's... and sometimes I'm annoyed to Tim, I'll be this food and this food. I was oh my God, it's just food. Calm down. Yeah. I'm always making fun of this with her family when we are on the call. I start a stopwatch, how long it will take until they talk about food, because they always start. They're amazing. Also, her she can cook so well after her dad.
Okay,
he's amazing with any soups. He will play with it. He will cook a soup for 12 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Just, slow flame, a little flame, and just and adding this at 4 hours and this and keeping it there. And it's oh my God. Yeah. Okay, you enjoy it, guys.
You're only going to drink it and then it's going to be finished.
I finish it in 2 minutes.
Yeah, and it's done.
You made so much effort. It's not worth it. I don't necessarily enjoy cooking. For me, doing eggs or heating something what is already done, that's
max.
Yeah, I will even eat it from the pan, so I don't have to do more dishes.
Of course, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
So this is
okay. So we were aligned then, because then I was like that a lot, very much so. But then actually, it was Chris that talked to me about it, and it was that idea of, wouldn't you like to enjoy going out for dinner, or having people over, or having a treat or whatever, and I was not really. And then we were getting married and I was oh, do you know what? I would really quite like to have some wedding cake. Like, I'd love that. I'd love to eat a slice of cake at my wedding.
At your sporty day, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. In my sports day. I would love to have like a slice of cake and have all these different types of foods. And so Chris wrote me probably his first nutrition plan years and years ago. And it gave me structure whilst giving me freedom. And it totally changed. And from then until now,
that's basically that's also
that's his thing.
That's the philosophy around it, right? Like you have structure around
and freedom with it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think the whole thing was kind of designed to eradicate people like me from the world, because it was just, it allowed me that freedom to eat. And now, because I'm sure people, like my friends, how gorgeous they are, but they must have been like, blimmin' heck, going out with Ellen's a pain in the arse. You know, she can only eat this and she has to change this. Or I would take my own food and everybody else would have a meal and I'd eat my own thing. And I mean, it's no skin off anyone else's nose what I do. I know that, you know, and if someone's got a problem with it, then whatever, I don't really care.
Yeah,
but the social, what I realised was, for me, it was the social aspect, and it's not of the eating. No one gives a shit what you eat. What I've realised in life, in my grand old 37 years, is that no one really cares that much about you. Like, you're the centre of your world. Yeah. And everybody else is like, oh, did they do that? I didn't really notice. You know, like, oh, I'm not sure. But I realised that actually it's nice to be in that social situation. And what I would put into my body would make other people feel certain ways. And that's what I like, you know, if I was eating my own food, what that said to other people was, oh, so our food's not good enough, or we're not doing the right thing. Or I'm like, do you think I care about you? I don't care what you do. You do you. I don't care.
This is me. I will just order whatever I want.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's actually has no reflection or impact on what anyone else is doing or anyone else's choices. And I'm not judging. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. I'm definitely not judging, you know, it's whatever. But you can't control the way that your actions impact how someone feels. And it's that thing of, well, you know, so it kind of encouraged me to think, well, actually, I don't want people that I know to think that, like, to feel bad about something that definitely they shouldn't be feeling bad about.
Yeah, because
you know?
That's the thing, right? Perception creates the reality.
Exactly.
So when they feel around you a certain way, it's their problem.
But that's the way they feel.
That's the way they feel.
And it's kind of my problem for allowing them to feel like it.
However else it was meant from your side, if they feel that way, they feel, like when somebody will tell you that they are hurt by what you said, right?
It doesn't matter how you meant it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how you meant it. They are hurt.
They're hurt, yeah, and that's the reality.
I was like, no, you can't be. Well,
I am.
What do you mean? I am.
That's when perception just becomes reality, right? Yep. And you're like, well, that is how they feel. And how are you going to deal with that situation?
That's why it's so hard to get along with many people, right?
Yeah. You know me, chatty Annie over it. But it absolutely is.
But also you can get along with so many people because you are not that touchy. Because you understand this. You understand this concept that, okay, if they think certain way, it's their thing.
Yeah, and it's
however,
cool.
I might have some impact over it, right?
Yeah.
And then also being aware of it from the other side that, okay, they did this, but what was their motivation behind it?
Yeah, did they really mean it in that way? Probably not.
One guy, Joao, he was here on the podcast and he said a very interesting thing that nobody means you bad. Anything what happens to you bad or, you know, nobody wants to hurt you. It's just they are doing it for themselves. Absolutely. And this is just a side effect. But nobody gives a shit
no one
about
cares.
it.
Yeah, exactly. You're not even secondary. You're like a tertiary thing to whatever the situation is that they're in. Yeah. So that kind of changed the way that I ate, going back to that question.
Yeah.
And then since being pregnant with Roxy, it was just, it was that balance of like exercise and nutrition and feeling like I'm being a good pregnant person as well as looking after myself. Because suddenly, as soon as you're pregnant, you're like two things you're you, but you're also a vessel.
Yeah,
right?
You have the responsibility.
Yeah, and so it's kind of marrying those two things together without losing either one of them, you know?
I know a lady who is all life smoker, and she only wasn't smoking when she was
9 months pregnant.
Yes. I mean, that's not a recommendation for anybody.
No, absolutely
Just
not.
saying.
That's not DHA
Yeah, and
approved.
it played out for her somehow that when she was pregnant, she wasn't feeling the urge.
Yeah.
Which is also only saying
So
that it's
interesting,
in
isn't
your brain.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, isn't it?
But then she also managed to go back into it straight away, you know.
It's because she'll have missed it. Absolutely. I mean, I don't drink alcohol at all, but I can imagine it's the same with alcohol.
You know, never did?
No, I definitely did.
Okay.
Well, 82 occasion. yeah. I love those beers. And then I randomly just stopped though. Like, as in I just decided, I'm doing all this work in the gym and I'm trying really hard and I feel really good, and then I go out and then I feel really bad, and it seems like a really weird cycle for me.
You know, yeah, well, people don't realize that. However, if somebody will tell us, like, even doctors recommend 1 glass of wine. Okay, first of all, look at that doctor. You know how fit he is. I want to see that. Second, yes, wine has certain things in it, certain chemicals, whatever we call it, certain molecules that are also good for you. However, it has the alcohol, and that's not that good part. It's not like wine is okay because, it's not. Yeah. It has the alcohol, and that's not good for you.
And that overrides potentially.
Alcohol is basically toxin. That's why immediately alcohol has 7 calories per gram.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is higher than carbs.
Yeah.
Higher than protein. Energy, these calories are turned into energy immediately because the alcohol is the first thing body is trying to process. Why? Because it's a toxin.
Bad. Yeah. Because it's naughty.
It's so, like, body knows that it's a toxin, so it's trying to get rid of it straight away.
Yeah.
You know what is a formaldehyde?
Yes.
That thingy that you put the preparates in to conserve, right?
Yeah.
So the formaldehyde is the metabolite of alcohol in your body.
Oh, right. Wow.
If you have it in the lab, there is a fucking skull on it because it's a poison.
Yeah.
So, and that's why people are hungover, because alcohol, through alcohol dehydrogenase, is transformed into formaldehyde.
Wow.
And then that's the hangover.
Yeah.
That's why you feel shit, because you are basically poisoned. Feeling hangover is being poisoned.
Oh, I'm so glad that I don't ever feel hungover.
Good luck with that, right?
Yeah. I always think that, and I'm like, people will say, like, you'll ever go back to drinking? I'm like, what, purposely make myself feel bad? No, that's why I do Murph. Like, I don't want to do anything else to make myself feel bad. No, I'm all right, thank you.
I used to say when I was doing MMA, and people are asking me why I don't drink. I was like, well, I'm already killing a lot of brain cells on the training. So I'm not going to do it with alcohol as well.
Imagine hungover and it's your rest day. Oh, no thanks.
Exactly. Like, you just fuck up
you already feel horrendous.
Yeah, you want to feel good one day a week. Right?
Yeah, right. Definitely. So I guess that's probably another thing that people give up easily.
So what, when you are in your normal diet, which you kind of hinted that that's not happening now because of the pregnancy?
Yeah, this pregnancy's been weird with food. So with Roxy, I was, I think I was keeping Deliveroo open. I was having like a lot of, I really craved, wasn't particularly junk food, but I ordered a lot of food. Mm-hmm. I think it was the idea of the preparation. My mum had the same, actually. But obviously, delivery food wasn't really such a big thing 37 years ago. But she said the preparing food made her feel sick. So when I was pregnant with Roxy, preparing food made me, I couldn't, like, it made me feel quite sick. The smell of things cooking and the heat of the kitchen, blah, blah, blah. But then once kind of that first trimester had passed, I could eat quite normal, like my normal food.
Why you say you could before you couldn't, or like?
As in that first trimester, I found it very difficult to eat what I would consider, Ellen's normal food. So I was like ordering a lot of food. And I have a friend who I work with, and I don't know why, and it's the same in this pregnancy. Anything she eats, I want to eat. Anything. Like I see, and she'll eat something that I would never choose to eat. The other day she had an instant noodle pot, and she was she'll kill me for saying this, and she was eating the sweet and sour sauce from the packet, like she was licking the leftover bits, and I was just watching her thinking, God, yeah, I could definitely do that. That sounds great. And I went and found myself some noodles. So yeah, like she's my food twin at the moment. But
does she also send you pictures like have this?
Sometimes, but she knows it's so lethal. It's like it's just a switch. I see it.
Instant trigger.
It's an instant trigger. It's kind of creepy if I'm honest, but it's really odd. She has to. I feel like she's monitoring what she eats in front of me just to kind of make sure she doesn't throw me off the deep end.
Or maybe she's sending to you and she's like pushing the limit to see how far she can go. It's like
maybe.
If she will copy it, it's still okay. She'll know it was too far.
No, I don't know. Laura always eats what she wants. She's got a metabolism of like, I don't know, something crazy. But she so anyway, but this pregnancy, I've just not really been that hungry, which has been quite interesting. So I've had to super force myself to get the calories in. I think it's something to do with being a mum already. That before my time was my time, I was pregnant, so go to the gym, then walk home and relax and eat, because it was all about, me making sure I was okay. Now I'm like, oh crap, I've not had any dinner because, I've been to the gym, I've got home, Roxy's had her dinner, we've played a little bit, she's had a bath, we've put her to bed, and that's like, oh my gosh, I didn't eat since lunchtime. So getting the calories in and making sure, because obviously I'm quite anal about making sure I have like the right amount of calories in my system because I've got a job to do.
That meaning feeding the baby.
Feeding the baby,
yes.
growing organs and all sorts of stuff that I'm trying to do, So it's making sure I eat, but I just don't fancy, at the moment, I'm finding it hard to, like the mornings, usually I still have the same breakfast, actually, to be quite fair. I have like oats and I have like a frozen banana and I have some peanut butter and I have some dates and some cinnamon.
No orange juice and yogurt anywhere?
No, that's kind of like a treat thing. Oh. Sometimes, that's feeling fruity on a weekend. I go for a 5K run on a Saturday and I have orange juice, an orange juice chaser from the run. But I haven't been able to eat it recently, which has been really annoying. But I woke up the other day and I got the oats out. And then I was like, I feel a bit sick. I can't eat anything. So that was that. And then didn't eat until like 9 o'clock. So yeah, I think but that's that thing, isn't it? Like going all the way back to the beginning of our conversation about the app and that you need to be doing this and you should be doing this and you should be doing that. I felt really sick, so I didn't eat breakfast. I mean, is that the end of the world? No. Yeah. Like, you've got to
Absolutely.
kind of, listen, generic, but listen to your body.
Like, would it be better if you have something which makes you sick?
Exactly.
Right?
Probably not.
Yeah.
And then I'll be
Most
in a bad
likely
mood.
not. Yeah.
Right? And then if I'm in a snotty mood, am I having a great day? No. Keeping me in a good mood, is that important? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like priority, right?
Exactly. So
also,
I kind of...
the stress hormones, you have the same bloodstream as the baby right now. Right?
I don't need him having loads of cortisol. Yeah.
What do you think, or do you drink coffee generally?
Yeah. I love a coffee, man.
Do you have coffee while pregnant?
So with Roxy, no, not a drop. It was the most boring 9 months of my life. Not
even decaf, yeah?
No, I didn't even do decaf. This time, a little bit of coffee.
This is
that second baby vibe. Yeah,
This is a theme I'm noticing a lot. Many people also talking about like first baby, everything needs to be perfect. Everything by the book, everything. And the second was like, okay. And the fourth one is like, hey guys, take care of your sibling.
Yeah, Hally Wally. Yeah, I know, right? So no, I'm having decaf.
The tension is loosening.
Yeah, and so it should though. But I think for me, it's loosening to a kind of a normal pace, and I feel quite happy about that because I found pregnancy with Roxy super stressful because it was off the back of 5 years of a nightmare. So I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get this right. And I'm like, oh, my body knows what it's doing.
Was it every day kind of like anxiety feeling like, oh my God, I just want to do this right?
Every day.
Every second, yeah.
Every second of every day, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was and I like think it just like in terms of training, you know, we found out we were pregnant, I think maybe we were 2 weeks or something.
How did you find out?
How did we find out with Roxy? I think I just felt pregnant.
Okay.
I did. I was like, oh, I feel pregnant. And Chris was like, no, I think you feel pregnant because we're doing IVF. So your hormones are doing something different. We went to a friend's house for dinner, and then I bought some pregnancy tests. I'm like, I think I'm bloody pregnant. I know myself. I'm pregnant. Got home.
Right call.
Yeah, I got home, did a pregnancy test, and I was like, oh my gosh, I am. And Chris was like, oh, we're not going to sleep now, are we? I'm like, no, I'm too excited. And then finding out I was pregnant with this dude, I got loads of spots. And Chris was like, you've got loads of spots on your face. I was like, thanks. He went, and he went, no.
What a nice thing to say.
I know, what a great husband. And he was like, no, but didn't you have that last time? I was like, last time what? He was like, last time you were pregnant. I was like, no. Yes, I did. And here they are. And now I'm pregnant. And that's the end of that.
So this baby wasn't planned?
No. Welcome addition to the family.
Yeah.
But not planned.
No planned.
No, not particularly.
But you kind of like said to yourself like, okay, one and done?
Yeah.
And
yeah, like the open. I was like the open about it. I was like, yeah, one and done. I'm not redoing any of these.
As I was saying you before we started recording, like last time I met you.
At the Turf Games.
At the Turf Games, you were like, I was asking like, oh, so what about the next one? And you were like, the journey to one was like pretty hard and very straining, so we'll just make the best out of this.
Yeah.
And then I see you online, with the announcement. Like, all right.
Yeah, she's done it again. Yeah. No, the journey wasn't hard for this one, so it was good. And
that's also why you're so chilled.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel much more relaxed. Obviously I was initially, this is a super CrossFit chat, but I was like, it's just about to be the open. I was like training really hard for the open. And I was like, because I missed
this season.
I know, right? Yeah, because I missed. So I was pregnant when it was the open before. And so I didn't do it. I didn't do it at all. But then I was training for this one, and I was like, right, yeah, I'm obviously, as I've said already, I'm definitely not going to the games, but I was like, I'm quite, I wanted to do quite well. I wanted to see where I fell, like in the deck and like with everybody at the gym, and wanted to just like, get in there and enjoy it. And I was bloody pregnant. So I still did it. Cool. And I did it RX.
Oh, they should actually do pregnant section.
They should. And do you know,
right?
I wrote to CrossFit already and said the same. I said,
nice.
Yeah, because I was like, but then you think it's, as we keep on, circling around to it, everybody's unique, right? So they can't say, which is what I realized. I wrote the email, I sent it, and then I realized they can't legally say, oh, so you're pregnant, so you can do this, but you can't do that. Because what if something happens and somebody shouldn't have done that?
That's true. That's
so
true. And also it's different to be pregnant second month and
absolutely. There's so many variabilities, which is what I've realized. This pregnancy has taught me that big time, because with Roxy I didn't skip, I didn't jump, I didn't I didn't do anything. This time I'm like, right, okay, so think about it slightly more logically and less from a place of total fear and more from a place of power and knowledge, and I've so I did the open and I did it RX, and I did like, what was the first one, the wall walks, and was it wall walks and double unders?
Yeah,
that one I nailed it. I was like, oh my God, I'm doing really well.
Cool. So so you're not avoiding any movements? Now,
yeah. So
because I think the first 8 weeks, I've never been pregnant, obviously.
It's a bit weird.
But I have some kind of
course.
Information.
Yeah.
Isn't first 8 weeks super important because there is a development of the nervous system and everything is starting to pick up?
Well, that first, also I'm not a specialist and don't know either, but that first Well, that first trimester is also it's super,
this 8 to 12 weeks. Yeah,
it's like imperative to look after yourself as the mum, because it's the highest risk of as miscarriage, isn't it? I think in that first trimester. So
I think majority of the miscarriages are up to 10th week, right?
100%. Yeah. It's a really high percentage, and also it's turning from a cell. Right, it's turning from an idea, a dream, a tiny thing into something that has a bit more, robust structure. So I imagine, for me, I think the whole thing is precious, and I'm like, so the whole thing, I'm being super cautious. But my being super cautious now is listening to myself, not doing ridiculous. I don't do anything where I think I can fall. So for me, what makes me feel, I don't do anything where I think if I fall, I don't want to fall, because falling is terrible, right? Yeah. So I'm like, no. And also it's just rubbish, yeah? Like you don't want to do a box jump and fall. We all know how bad the shins look. It's not great. So, I'm actually still doing box jumps actually at the moment, but anything where I can fall, I don't do. But then aside from that, it's just, I check with my doctor, I check with my obs and gynae, and I check with my midwife, and because there's this whole kind of thing about not letting your heart rate get too high. So I chase that up because I do a 5K run every Saturday with my running group, and I was like, and I love running, but my body not so much. And I was like, I just need to check, because sometimes my heart rate after 3.5K is it's through the roof.
Generally the rule is that you should be at 70% of your max capacity, which means also 70% of your max heart rate, or the intensity where you can still fluently, in a cardio meeting,
like an RP,
fluently answer
a
question with a sentence, not just
not
one
just
word.
A word. Yeah, exactly.
Without gasping too much.
Yeah.
However, this is something what people don't realize very often. And if somebody is very fit, getting them out of that fitness regime might be bigger shock for the body than keeping the fitness regime.
Absolutely.
So just you have to play not a general guidelines.
Absolutely. So when I spoke to my midwife and I said, is this heart rate thing? She was like, you're okay. Just continue training.
Is it Nikki?
No, it's not.
No?
It's not Nikki.
Okay.
She works in my hospital. I wish it was Nikki. Not that I don't like my midwife as it is.
Of course.
But I message Nikki all the time anyway, because she's so knowledgeable. But no, it's not. And it was just and she was like, you just train as normal. You're fine. You just train. It's okay. Because I've done a couple of competitions quite recently as well.
Pregnant.
Yeah. So
good.
So I did the open. That was early on, and I was like, trying my best, but I was keeping my heart rate at 135.
You're checking that?
I had it on my watch, yeah.
So you're checking through the workout?
Which was hilarious because I hadn't told anybody I was pregnant. They thought I was doing some amazing strategy. No, I'm not. I'm not obviously not that amazing a strategy because I'm not doing that well. But I remember one of my friends, Carrie, she's like, come on, Ellen, you can do it. And I was like, yeah, I know. I'm just trying to keep my heart rate 135. It's quite difficult on this workout.
Oh my God.
You can just imagine.
It's all the charts okay, she's checking the time.
Yeah, she's going to do it in 90-minute intervals.
Yeah,
she's going to take a 10-second break. And, because everyone loves to kind of overanalyze a workout, don't we? We all do. I love doing it. But people thought that's what I was doing. I was like, oh, no, I'm just up the duff. And I'm
Ellen
just trying
has a secret sauce.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I've gotten in at CrossFit I've been told.
You wake up in the morning, right, after the CrossFit announces the workout, and you have all these coaches sending the videos of analysis, and from Outlaw and from this and from friends.
Absolutely.
Everybody is doing an analysis and breakdown of the reps and scheme and what to focus on, that movement,
which are always the most important.
Yeah, and
where are you going to place those dumbbells? Because that is what's going to get you those extra seconds every round and push you up that leaderboard. Yeah.
Well, applies to 0.801%,
exactly.
where they actually can lift the dumbbells.
Because when they put the dumbbells on, they don't need to take a 5-second break anyway. Because actually, the transition for me is the bit where I catch my breath.
Exactly. Yeah. Like if you need that break,
have it.
You don't need. Yeah, have it. You don't need the dumbbells.
I don't need my dumbbells next to the box because I'm going to die on the box.
I remember quick side story. I remember one guy. It was the first time when there was this double Diane workout. You remember that?
Yeah.
So it was 21:59 deadlifts and handstand push-ups, and then 21:59 way heavier deadlifts. I think like 140 kilos.
It was disgraceful. It was so
and
heavy.
Then handstand walks.
Yeah.
So we were doing this at Gold Box. It was in Alcus, great vibes, so many people. I was organizing the heats, allocating the judges, and this guy comes to me, Marwan. He comes to me. And he was always training in Alcus. Yeah. And I was mostly at the base square, so I didn't really know him. But he was part of the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah. He comes to me, he's like, hey coach, like, can you make me a tape for handstand walks here? Because it's too far from the bar.
From the barbell.
And the lines were already made, nobody got an issue. There were probably like 5 guys who had a chance getting to the handstand walk because just of the tape.
Deadlifts were so
just
heavy,
because of the time cap, right?
Yeah.
So everybody smashed the Diane, but you had to do 21 deadlifts with 140 kilos just to get to the handstand walk. And I'm looking at him and I knew he's like, one of the maybe 90 percentile of the guys in the gym.
Yeah.
So I'm looking, like, I almost started to laugh, but I didn't want to.
That's not going to go down well.
Yeah, laugh into his face. I was like, you think you will need it? And he was like, yeah, of course. And I was like, okay. So I arranged it. He didn't even finish the first Diane. He didn't even get to the deadlift, So this is exactly that.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
It's like, it needs to be close, it needs to be that, it needs to be... Well...
Kind of. I mean, not for us particularly. Yeah, so that was really... So that open was funny. And then we did... quite recently, I've done 2... One in-house competition at the gym. And my team came 3rd, which I was very excited about, out of 25.
It was in Elite?
Huh? In Elite, yeah.
In Elite.
Yeah, I came 3rd with my team. I know.
I've seen it on the on the videos and also dancing. And,
of course. Why not? That's all I do now. Chat, dance, workout. So we came. So that was really good. But it was great because I had 2 awesome teammates, to be fair. And
this time they knew you were pregnant, right?
Yeah, we were called 3.5 humans. So I'm 1.5 of those. But it was the workouts were they'd made, to be honest, they'd made them amazingly accessible. So everybody could be really successful in the workouts, which was great. And it just played to my strength. Well, no, it didn't play to my strengths. It didn't pull on my weaknesses.
Okay.
Slightly different to playing on my strengths. It didn't uncover too many of my weaknesses, which I quite liked. So we did that, and then there was another thing the other weekend, High Rocks. I don't know if you've seen the stuff.
Yes.
It's like
it was a challenge that is globally going around.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really interesting actually. So I did that too, and did averagely well.
There was like one very nasty workout, right?
What, the High Rocks thing? It was just one long workout. Yeah, it was a 1K run into 50 burpee broad jumps into
there was a tape, right?
There was tape, and everyone just worked on the same tape. Then there was 100 lunges, and then a 1K row, and then 30 hand release push-ups, and then something else, 100 wall balls to finish.
Okay. That's nasty.
Yeah, it was quite nasty. I think I did it in, I don't know, I came like silver. There was like gold, silver, and bronze times.
So based on
it's like
categories.
It's just a PFT. It's a physical fitness test. So you fall within whichever time domain. So I fell into silver, which I was quite pleased with. Yeah,
very good.
Yeah, but I had a conversation with a guy there, one of the guys who was running it, about how to scale, because I think it is a really big thing that I don't know, it maybe needs slightly more like awareness in general, because you go on to people who are pregnant who train a bit but maybe want to train more, or they're worried about their bodies during pregnancy, or that myth about getting fit for fit for your labor, which isn't a thing. Your body's designed to be fit, and just keep moving.
Yeah.
And it has many more benefits than just being fit for labor.
If you move the right way,
you
will be fit for labor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't need to train for labor. It's I had a C-section, so I wouldn't know, but I imagine.
Oh, you had a C-section.
Yeah, but it's that thing of knowing how to scale appropriately. So I said to the guy, I'm just letting you know, I'm 5 months pregnant, because it was last weekend, and he was like, obviously the look of his face was like, lawsuit. I was like, no, I'm not saying, I know I'm liable for my own body. I'm a qualified PT. You don't need to tell me what to do. I'm just telling you that I'm pregnant, just so you have that awareness. And he was like, out of interest, what will you scale? What do you need to scale? I was like, well, I won't know until I'm doing it. And I said, the only thing I can see that maybe is slightly inaccessible for pregnant people is a hand release push-up.
Yeah, because you need to rest on the belly.
Because you need to rest on your belly. Yeah. That's the only thing that I think might cause issues for some people. I mean, I kind of did some quasi-knee. I ended up doing it RX, but the way I got there maybe was slightly, had a bit of a twist on it.
Okay.
But it was fine. But
LN push-ups. Yeah,
I just made my own up. Yeah, but it is that thing of, and I say all the coaches at my gym are really good at doing that. They say what do you need to change? How do you need to change it? But then also, I guess they know that I kind of know what I'm talking about slightly in relation to my own body, not in relation to anybody else's. But that's that thing, right? It's super subjective.
That's what you said before.
Yeah.
You know you.
Yeah, I know me. Yeah, I'm a specialist in me, but if then someone messaged me on my Instagram account about, they're pregnant and I'm training, and I'm like, no, I don't know. Okay. I don't know what you should do. I don't know.
I remember Shane Orr. That's Tia's husband. Yeah. Now they have what they call it, proven.
Yeah, proven.
Programming.
Proven.
But before, when they were here, when we met them opening the gold box, I remember even Rachel. She was asking him if he could coach her.
Oh wow!
And he said, "I'm not a CrossFit coach. I'm Tia's coach."
I'm Tia's coach.
Yeah. Now they changed it. Also, Tia is probably.
Well, now he's got probably a heap more experience.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And it's proven.
Yeah, exactly.
It's proven that it works. So, but
but it is. It's that thing of knowing that you're a specialist in your partner or in you or whatever doesn't mean every scrap of knowledge I have to do with pregnancy and fitness is anecdotal. It's all me. It's not even me general. It's me on that Monday in that month at that time. If it had been that Tuesday in that month, I might not have performed the same. I'm not, and it's just knowing, having that confidence.
This applies to everybody, even not pregnant people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, pregnant ladies.
Yeah. In life. Yeah.
It's like every day is different. Every day is different. You cannot expect that because it went a certain way.
That was your result on that day, that will be a result on the next day. No, of course. And so when people are like, taking the Open as an example, people are like, look, oh, well, this is how I did in this Open. This is how I expect to do. It's like, but what did you eat that day? Had you started a new job recently? Had you had a fight with a girlfriend? What shorts were you wearing?
How was the sleep? Right?
How was your sleep? Did you go for a wee?
Also, when they changed the Open being in a fall, not on the spring.
Yeah.
That was a big difference.
Massive change. And it's all those kind of circumstantial differences that have the biggest impact. It's not necessarily, I got my 1 mile time down to whatever, whatever. It's actually everything else that goes around it, right?
That's the concept of that being fit or getting fit or fitter. Mm. Because, what is fit? Define it, right?
Right, sliding scale.
Yeah. Getting fitter is moving the center, not moving the extremes. When you have a certain capacity of, let's say, whatever squat, okay, your fitness is the weight you can lift every day on that
average,
weight.
Yeah.
On average, yeah.
Yeah, it's your average, yeah.
Every day, not the weight that you can hit once a year. That's not your fitness. That's your best performance.
Yeah.
1 rep max, that's what it means.
Yeah.
But that's not what you...
That's like the fringe.
That's not
of
your
where you
standard.
Are. Yeah.
That's not your standard. That also applies for times of the workouts, times of the running distances for runners. Yeah. Like, okay, well, you have sub 25K. Cool. But
is that
your sustainable pace anytime you go?
Yeah.
Or it happened once because you had amazing 12-week program.
Yeah, because everything lined up perfectly.
Yeah.
Well, that's what... Not
only the training program, but...
right? Yeah. Everything in life.
Yeah, everything.
But that's the thing with, athletes working towards very, very specific goals, isn't it? It's like they're working towards that fringe time. They're working towards that 1RM, that best time, that PB. And it just so happens that working towards those shifts their average, obviously.
Exactly.
Anyway.
That's the point. That pushing the extreme is pushing the average.
But that idea of like when you're talking about your fitness, I talk about my fitness as my average. A girl at the gym, she's like 7. She's 17 and she's doing this maths project, and it's super interesting. She's doing the correlation between age and strength in CrossFit athletes. Like as in CrossFit members, so she sent out like a thing to everybody at the gym, like a survey, and you have to say how old you are and what your 1RMs are in like 3 different lifts, and also how long you've been training. That's another variable that she's put
also
in.
The other thing is when the 1RM was done.
Mate, so mine are like, woo, so far back. So I'm filling it in thinking I'm an absolute beast. And I'm like, oh yeah, I did like 100 and whatever 10 kg deadlift. And for me, that's like pretty damn punchy. And I'm like typing it in. I'm thinking, well, I know at the gym the other day I did like 45 kg, but she's not asking what my average is. She's asking what my 1RM is. And I'm not lying. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, I did it. Just
it happened.
It happened. It happened. It's like that guy, I caught a fish and it was this big. You're sure it happened one time. But yeah, so it is. I find that interesting, that working towards heightening your average or pushing
the center, not the extremes.
Exactly. Yeah.
When there's this documentary, it's a 20-minute video on YouTube. I used to binge watch when I started.
I like that documentary. Wait a minute, more like a YouTube video.
Well, it is meant like a documentary about what is CrossFit. It's called What is CrossFit. It is like old school video. Dave Castro is talking there. This other Justin Berg or whoever, he was like a executive general manager of the CrossFit Games. Anyway, they're talking there, athletes are talking there, and one guy says extremely interesting sentence that always stuck in my mind. Your fitness is what you can show me today, now. Yeah, not a week from now, not a month from now, not a year from now. Your fitness is what you can show me right now, because that's your normal, everyday, random average. Yeah, that's you.
Yeah, that's you.
Also, talking about the tapering and preparing the top athletes to the performance on the games. Matt Fraser said it himself that once he got back into the gym after the break that followed the games, something what used to feel very easy and like a warm-up, the warm-ups he used to do, he didn't finish it. Yeah. Yeah, because he just went very opposite direction.
Your adrenals are absolutely shot as well.
He was focused on that 1 week on a year. Then he took a break because it's such a big beating to the body, right? Yeah. Doing the games.
And an emotional, hormonal beating, right?
Exactly.
Because that's why things feel hard. Because, that weight hasn't actually got materialistically any harder than it has. It's your mental game has shifted, right?
And nervous system completely shattered.
Yeah. It's I find that stuff really interesting.
So, Ellen, one thing caught my attention. You said you had a C-section.
Yes, I did. I did indeed.
Was it planned or was it emergency?
Well, obviously, I say obviously. I don't know. Maybe I speak as an average, but like, oh my gosh, women are like, I for one, I'm pretty scared of childbirth, which I know I need to debunk that and everything is fine. I've always been quite petrified, but I soldiered on through using that grit and intent and was like, yep, we're going to aim for a normal birth. However, the Roxy hadn't grown for a couple of weeks. And they were slightly, they were slightly more they were concerned, you know. And I was like, well, I can either wait this out, or I can have a baby that's healthy and here, and I know I've done all the right things, because that's when you don't forgive yourself, right? When you're the thing that's got in the way, right? So I'm like, take my choice in this instance out of the equation. What's the best thing for this human to get, you know, into the world?
Yeah.
And they were like, best thing is to book you in for a C-section and get it done. And then we know that she's going to be out by this date. So I was like, fine. It just so happens that the date she came out was her due date anyway. So I'm not sure quite how long it would have gone on for after that. But, you know, I was like, you know.
Well, she's healthy. And
she was fine. And yeah, but the road back from that.
That's what I want to ask.
Ooh, that was a punchy time.
Because sometimes it takes like very, very long time. And you are 2 years after that.
Yeah.
Already 5.5 months pregnant again.
Yeah.
Like, your recovery was pretty quick then.
Was it now? I don't know. So it was, but it's not recovered. Like you just learn to adapt, right? So you learn different ways of doing things.
But you still do CrossFit competitions.
I do. I do. I still do CrossFit competitions. Yeah. It hasn't.
That's part of the adaptation.
It is, but it is, right?
Yep.
So I did all the necessary things. I then managed, after, I don't know how many weeks it was. Maybe she was like 6 weeks old. I broke my toe. So then I couldn't walk. So I was like, had a C-section, and I needed to mobilize myself, and I'd broken my toe. So then I was swimming 1 to 2 kilometers a day in the pool in order to move. One, most importantly, get some sanity, because I train like 6 times a week. So without moving, I was slowly losing my mind.
And that was over lockdown, right?
Yeah.
So you couldn't really go anywhere?
So I was kind of, it was quite an intense period of time, to be fair. But
you still, I mean, you see, this is the difference between, I don't want to put anybody to the boxes, but an average attitude and your attitude, because many people, you know, fresh after pregnancy, C-section delivery, pregnancy was very stressful because you were scared, right? 6 weeks after C-section.
Broke my bloody toe,
broke your toe, but you're like, that's not an excuse.
It wasn't an excuse. Get me in the goddamn pool.
Each of them separately would be enough of an excuse for a person who doesn't, you know, who is looking for some. And in that case, if somebody would tell me, like, you know, I had a very stressful pregnancy and a C-section. It's like, fair enough. You don't feel like training, don't train.
Absolutely,
right?
Don't train.
Then you have somebody who will tell, like, well, I have a six week baby here.
Yeah.
It's a lockdown and I broke my toe. I'm not training. And it's like,
okay, fine. Like, that's enough of an. You're all right.
Fair enough, you know. Yeah. And you had all of
those
that
together. Yeah, no, so true. Yeah. So then I took up swimming, and I swam for maybe 2 months. I think I did. Maybe it was 2 months but I mean, my body, like, it changed firstly, my mental state. It was the most beneficial for, because I was exercising, getting back to those endorphins that I'd been missing. So that was lovely. And then the toe was healing, and the stomach, like, I don't know. It's, I think maybe I wasn't aware of what a monumental operation a C-section was. I was a bit like, natural birth, C-section, I don't know if this is a general thing or if it's just how I felt, or I don't know. But I was like, I couldn't think past Roxy being here. Like, as in, I was like, whatever, I don't care. Just get my child out and happy and alive, and then we'll just deal with that shit later. Well, it's fine.
I would say, again,
not having a baby yourself,
Oh, I would say that's very normal and very healthy thinking, because that's what we were evolutionary made for.
Absolutely.
The only thing is the preservation of our species
of life,
and life, which means now her. Like, absolutely, right now you would put your life for her.
Absolutely, I'm a secondary thing.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So that's obviously not a concern. You want the baby to be healthy and okay, and then the other thing.
Yeah.
Also, you were swimming in your pool in the building.
Yeah.
That's not a big pool, right?
It's not huge. No, it's like.
So you had a lot of turning.
15 meters.
15 meters. Yeah, that's pretty okay.
Or 17 meters. I was doing like 81 laps. Between 81 and 100, and then I got to 120. I was,
Wow.
Tumble turning. I got all the...
Just the specificity of it, 81.
I know.
I did 81.
I know. But it was just the thing that would keep me straight and narrow.
When you were doing that, it was also like the only time for you, right?
Exactly.
Because you're running the household, you're having a baby. Lockdown's going down. Yeah. World's in fire.
The world's going to hell in a handbag. And I'm just like, just 81 laps of the pool. But all you can do to keep your sanity in life, right, is to focus on the here and now. Sometimes if you think too big, then your whole world will just start to crumble because you worry or you think about all too much stuff. So for me, training in general, definitely since Roxy's arrived, has been this 1 hour, all I need to do is move and train and laugh and have a nice time, and then I'll go back to my normal life. And it's just that kind of like pause in the day where I'm like, okay, cool, this bit's for me. And I don't feel selfish, which I know lots of people probably think, you could feel selfish.
Yeah.
Because, you go to the gym, it's a 20-minute drive to the gym, you're doing an hour's class, and it's a 20-minute drive home, so it's an hour and 40 minutes. You've been at work all day, and I get that. I totally get that. And sometimes I get massive pangs of mum guilt, because mum guilt is a big thing. But I also think I'm a better human for being fit. Roxy doesn't care if I'm fit or not. She probably cares if I can bend down and play with her, which is important.
And she'll care if you're able to be doing it in 20 years.
Exactly. Yeah? But also she'll care that I'm in a good mood and I'm able to show her the best side of me and be the best version of me that I can be. And for me, that comes from moving, exercising, spending time with like-minded people in a positive space. It's like therapy, right? It's like 6 days a week of therapy. And the fact I get to share it with Chris is super powerful because it means that we have an hour or whatever it is, 5 times a week or 6 times a week or 4 times a week, depending on schedules, where we get to be together and we don't talk about Roxy. We don't talk about pregnancy. We don't talk about anything else other than that moment, like, oh, what are you going to do for those cleans? Oh, I think I'm going to do 35. Oh, yeah, I think you should do 45 because you're much stronger, or how are you going to break up your toaster bar? And I'm like, I'm not doing toaster bar anymore. But whatever,
Fact check.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just that kind of, you're sharing something and it's that other side of you. And and I really like it. And people don't talk to me too much about my child in the gym. People talk to me about other things, and I'm just get to be like Ellen with a capital E, not like mum, with an oatmeal stain on my
t-shirt.
The
mom of Roxy.
Yeah. I get to just be myself, and I think that's quite important. I know it's a privilege to get that in life, and that lots of people who've got kids, who've got 1 child, 2 child, 3, whatever they have, that you don't always get that time to yourself. And if you do, you don't always get it that regularly. And I totally understand and, credit to anybody if you're bringing up a kid, credit to you however you're doing it. It's hard. And it's hard in a multitude of ways. But I feel quite, I know we're really lucky to be able to go to the gym and train together and do those things. And I think it's having a positive impact on her because now she's got this whole mummy, gym, and just this I can't tell if she's doing chest to bar, kipping pull-ups or bench press, but she's doing something that looks like that. And I'm like,
it's ring rows or push-ups.
It could be ring rows. For me now, it's definitely the ring rows. But she's doing something, and I'm like, yeah, good. And she's becoming, she sees all these amazing, beautiful, powerful women in the gym, and she watches them, and she watches the men too. She watches everybody. But I think there's something quite important in 2022 for a young girl to see another woman, shifting some tin and picking themselves up and throwing themselves around and, being on a level playing field with everybody else in the gym. It's not like, oh, this is the section for the girls and they do this. We're all throwing down together and everybody's treating each other with respect. And I think that's another important thing that she sees.
I believe that gym with a good culture is an amazing place to have kids around.
Yeah,
because it's building them so much, not only the physical part, but everything what you're saying from the character, right?
Yeah.
The respect, the fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
The community vibe,
yeah.
that everybody is a friend,
and it's wholesome. Yeah. But it also teaches them about danger, don't put your fingers between those two plates because that's going to really bloody hurt. Don't try and go on the rolling road and get your hand caught down the side. But it's about developing those awareness skills to be able to assess a situation. I can see her now. I mean, let's be honest, 9 times out of 10, she'll still try and hurt herself. But I can see her look at a situation and be like, oh, I shouldn't try and climb on that box, but I can try and climb on that box. I'm like, yeah, go for it.
But sometimes, however terrible it sounds, but sometimes they will only learn when they get hurt.
Mate, they only learn when they get hurt.
Yeah.
100%.
You need to kind of keep it in a norm of sustaining the life.
Absolutely. About preserving the life, but also encouraging them to see what their life is worth and how quickly it can be taken away from them. Yeah, Roxy does some crazy stuff. And I'm sure it's because she sees us do crazy things. Because when I watch what she does, I'm like, kind of looks like a burpee box jump, kind of looks like a toaster bar, but she just happens to be doing it, hanging on the window. And I'm like, no, don't hang on the window. I'm like, well, but she just saw me do scat.
Which side, inside or outside?
Inside. Okay. But she'll see me do scat pull-ups, to warm up on the bar. And then, well, what's she doing? She's doing scat pull-ups, Yeah. That's what she's doing. But she's just doing it somewhere that isn't a gym. But does she know the difference? Probably not.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah. She will.
You mentioned mom guilt.
Yeah. What's that?
What is it?
Oh, that.
I mean, I kind of guess, but I want to hear it from you.
So, mum guilt. Mum guilt for me. Well, mum guilt for, I imagine, everybody. It's where that you could do with, something simple like washing your hair or sitting down on the sofa for 5 minutes. But that your kid could also do with a cuddle or just being around them. But they don't need a cuddle. You just gave them one 2 seconds ago. You're only going to wash your hair. You're only going to be 7 minutes. But you're like, oh, I could stay with them though instead. It's that times a million for every single choice you ever make in your life. That's what mum guilt is. So you're like, I go to the gym and I'm like, oh, I miss her. Or I go to work and I'm like, oh, maybe I should be at home with Roxy. Or, I've been out you probably count on one hand the amount of times I've been out since she's been born. And every time I'm like, oh, I shouldn't go. What's going to happen? Oh no, I shouldn't leave her. That's my experience with mum guilt.
It's your natural instinct to put her first.
It's an animal instinct for sure.
To a point that you kind of neglecting everything about you
absolutely.
And your needs.
Yeah.
Because if you put the effort into your needs, you'll feel guilty about not spending that time with her.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun times. No one tells you these things when you're having a kid. It's like, oh, having a kid is going to be great. No one tells you that, those first few months where you're super sleep. I was like, what? I'm not going to get any sleep. Big whoop. That's going to be okay. Well, no, it's those crazy feelings and those thoughts you have in the middle of the night, and you worry about the future, and you're thinking about everything that could happen to this tiny human. You're like, oh my gosh, I brought her into the world. I feel so bad about it. There's so much stuff that's happening, and especially
and so fast.
And yes, and COVID, and then there's so many things that happened, especially in home news, awful things and murders and all this. And I would stay up. I would worry all night about those things. No one tells you that's going to happen. Now I know it's just like a hormone release. Yeah. And it's something that your body I'm guessing it's my body, my hormones teaching me to protect and love my child. which I did anyway. I didn't need my hormones to beat me up
oxytocin?
about it. I guess I'm not. Well, no, because oxytocin is the
love one, right?
Yeah, but
it's bonding one.
Yeah, so maybe, but it's that feeling of fear, like abject terror that you're going to have to protect. This thing needs protecting, and what might happen to them. And you're not just thinking about the next year. You're like, when they're 18, when they're 21, will they get married? Does that even matter? Will they? You worry about the whole of their lives.
So, yeah, I've seen this in a TV show lately with Aston Kutcher.
Okay, cool.
It's called The Ranch, I think.
I haven't seen. Is it really good?
It's hilarious. It's hilarious. And he was getting a baby born, and his wife was like, there was some emergency going on. So they took her into the operation room, and he had to stay outside. And he was just like walking up and down, freaking out. And his mom was there as well. And she's telling him, not the mom of the baby, his mom. Yeah. And she's like, yeah, welcome to a parenthood. And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, there's not going to be a second from now that you will love anything on the world more than you love that baby. And there's not going to be a second from now that you will fear for that baby.
Yeah. For sure.
And that's 100%. Exactly what you're saying.
100%. Yeah. You just spend, forever thinking and worrying and loving. And there's so much. And it's that thing of like letting go though, and just enjoying the feelings, even though they're quite frightening, because you're afraid you're afraid that, you love something so, it makes me want to cry. It makes me want to cry now. The thought of loving her makes me want to cry. But
I would say that's oxytocin.
Yeah, I would say so too. But it's that idea of loving something so fiercely, but just enjoying loving that thing so fiercely. I think we spend so much. I try to not, but I know that we all do, and me included. Like protecting yourself from feeling, because if you're not feeling 100, if you're not feeling to your 10 out of 10 max, then you're saving a little bit of yourself and you're protecting yourself a little bit, right?
It's a protection.
Yeah. So, but I think after having Roxy, I'm trying to feel all the feelings, and like appreciate all of them for what they are, because I think it can consume you if you don't recognize like, oh yeah, I'm shitting myself about this. Or like, I'm so happy, like, it's okay to be so happy. Like, I know it's frightening to be so happy. It's petrifying to feel so lucky or so whatever.
Well, the higher you are,
the farther you've got to fall.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The further the crash, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. But I think it's nice to, I don't know, I feel with Roxy, and to be honest, I feel it with Chris too, because I think we've been together since dinosaurs walked the earth, that like I feel like potentially I love him with with everything, I'm not like, but if he leaves me or blah, blah, whatever, for me it's not I'm like, that's it. Yeah. And that maybe that's naive.
It's the love, not the circumstances.
Yeah, I'm just like, I just feel it all. I'm just feeling.
When you were saying, I want to ask something. Yeah, I just want to say actually that when you're saying that all of this is happening and the COVID was happening, like I can't imagine for myself how crazy stressful and scary that had to be when everything was going down. You didn't know if it's going to be deadly virus or not, all the media did their job, right?
Yeah.
Like everything was so uncertain, and you just got a baby. You just got a newborn, and you're like, everybody was, like,
post-apocalyptic,
what's the point? What's the point now? When this might be over soon? It's like I can't even imagine that, because you've seen it on so many people, and you also seen so many people grow with it. How it, like, they stepped up the game, and they grew with the challenge, and the opposite side where they were just pushed down to the ground with what it presented. Yeah. The opportunity was there, right? Like to deal with it and or just to surrender. And there was also for many people who have only purely like myself kind of responsibility only for myself.
Yeah.
I mean, in a worst case, I die. It's like, okay, couple of people might be grieving, but it's only a matter of time. But you know what I mean? Like that's very different than when you have the kids.
Yeah,
right?
For sure. It was a really emotional time. It was really emotional. But then you think but I didn't know anything else, right? So
that's true.
And so like my only experience of having a child, my only experience of childbirth is wearing a mask and like having my the spinal tap thing and lying down and having a mask on and having my arms like strapped down or it's not strapped down, it's not medieval, but like have your arms down and then
I was like this
turns
something
into something
different.
else, turns into pre-baby. Strapped down, and the I can never say the word
anesthetics.
The guy who does this, that name, which I can never pronounce.
I don't know if I say it right.
I think we're both near.
Anesthesia.
Yeah, that's what
the anesthetic guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
The doctor who is putting you into sleep.
Yeah, the doctor who makes sure my body's asleep.
Yeah.
He said, he was like, she needs to take her mask off because most of the vital signs that I'm checking for to check if she's okay are here and I can't see them because you've covered them with a mask. And I remember just thinking like, bloody hell, this is so odd. Here I am, all you can see, I've got like, the cap on my head, I've got my arms pinned down, I've got a big like cloth up under my boobs so I couldn't see like my body, and my mask is poking up into my massive bags under my eyes because I was exhausted.
It looked like you're going to rob somebody.
I was
right?
like, it was intense.
Shit.
And they took the mask off and then it was, fine. But then, I was just like, I don't know what this birth will be like. I don't know what it's going to be like to have a newborn baby and be able to, we'll see what the COVID numbers are like, but to be able to show the baby to the rest of the world, because for so long she was ours at home, just us. Because we were, I remember, and I'm sure this is a feeling that everyone has, but we were frightened to leave the hospital room. So we had you get like a private room, Dubai, perfect. So you get a nice little private room and you're in it for like 2
It's like a hotel room, right?
Honestly, it's delightful. It's the last time I slept properly, I think. So you get like this really nice room and you're in it for 2 days, 3 nights, or 3 days, 2 nights, whatever it is. And people come in and they look after you and they check on you and they teach you how to do things. And then they leave and it's just you in your nice little room and they deliver you food and it's just me, Chris and Roxy, that's it. And I remember so vividly, my legs were shaking when I had to walk out of the room. I'm sure it was a little bit of atrophy from lying down for like 3 days. But aside from that,
Some
it was
muscle weakness.
absolutely, a bit of muscle wastage in my quads. But I remember being afraid to be out. And it was because of COVID. And also because I had this tiny thing that was suddenly the most precious thing in my whole life. But because of...
And COVID.
Yeah. I might get it from touching the lift. I might get it from touching the button. I might get it from touching the door. Is it going to kill me? Is it going to kill her? Is it going to kill Chris? It was overwhelming for the first few months until we decided that we couldn't cope with how overwhelming it was. And
that's the thing. Like there was, and obviously you couldn't plan that, right? But this was like, I would say, it was one of the worst times for a mental pressure. Yeah.
Because it was...
And again, you're still smiling. You're still super happy.
I don't know. I had some moments where I definitely was not. But in general, mostly, but yeah.
I want to ask you, because I've seen some pictures and I actually think I've seen Roxy being in a gym.
Yeah, lots and lots.
With a headset on.
Yeah, with headphones.
Because I actually went... I'm kind of like going around gyms if I want to, like randomly visiting and stuff.
Nice.
I went to Eliot last week.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
For a lunchtime class.
Oh, good.
It was great. It was
really nice.
Running outside.
Sweaty.
Yeah.
Was it the 800 meter run?
No, it was 4 rounds. It was like this every 10 minutes, and you do like a shit ton of cardio.
Yeah.
Which is like
You went on a Wednesday.
Yeah. It was like the worst.
Your Wednesday. That's Wednesdays.
That was the only time I could.
Yeah, I bloody love a Wednesday. I don't have to scale it. I'm like, I'm there. I can compete with everybody else on a Wednesday.
It was good, but different type of hard that I'm used to.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Challenge,
for sure.
But anyway, I've seen many people with babies there.
Yeah.
Or I mean, not like many,
there's
like thousands, but quite a few.
Yeah, there's like
and
3 or 4
I was like, this baby looks like it's like max 4 weeks.
Yeah.
You know? Like
I know whose baby it is. Yes.
Super fresh baby.
Yeah, there is a super fresh baby.
And for me, my first instinct was like, isn't this a little bit too loud and unnecessarily exposing environment? You know, so many people coming in, and I believe, at least like my philosophy, and that's how I plan to do it when the time will come, that like really couple of first weeks, maybe even 2 months, trying to be only baby and parents, not really, showing it. And you have Instagram for that if you really need to share.
And Zoom.
Yes, exactly.
Everyone's favorite.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have so many other options. So like, what is your take on this? Obviously, you had to isolate the baby because of the COVID. So you got it naturally.
Exactly. So I don't know how I feel, if is my answer, to be quite frank, because I felt we couldn't, like, it wasn't. But
you're giving Roxy the headset when she's in the.
But I gave her the headset. Yeah. And again, I'm not a specialist in.
It's not like she's listening to music there, right?
No, they're ear defenders.
Yes.
Noise cancelling things. And she doesn't listen. She doesn't use them now. But we started. So she was born in June. We started in the gym the day after Halloween. So it must have been the 1st of November, let's say. And she wore a headset until she refused to wear them anymore, when she became aware of like.
That was like her choice, basically.
Yeah, get this off me kind of thing. But that was probably like January maybe, or February. So she wore them for like maybe 3 months or 4 months. And that's just because I'd read one study that was, about like, ear development of listening skills and stuff like that, and sound. And I was like, I'm just going to keep her protected from the noise. Probably a larger portion of it was also so she could sleep, because she wakes up quite easily. So I was like, keep her some headphones on, then she can sleep. But I actually don't know if there is any scientific evidence to say it's dangerous or it's not dangerous. I don't know.
I just found it very smart. I seen it. I was like, such a great idea to bring, very fresh baby to maybe a little bit more chaotic environment, but still keeping it cool. So she's not overwhelmed.
Yeah, she was 5 months old, so she was a little bit more kind of with it. She wasn't like, tiny and new, but it was just that way of like for me, not overstimulating her, because I'm quite fizzy as a person, and I'm quite like, I don't know, like everywhere, and I'll swing her around and I'll show her stuff, and I'm not very good at leaving her like in a like if she's lying in a pram, like so that makes her not so content to just lie. So some of the babies won't be as stimulated because they're not been, bloody swung around and shown everything, and like, oh, look at this. This is a wall. This is a ball. This is a barbell. This is a ring. Which is what I'm like. So I'm like, if I can save her in some ways from being sensory overload, I'll try. So that was our way of, kind of like just protecting her from having everything all at once.
I found it very interesting and very cute also, because you both went there. Yeah. You, all three of you, spending time together.
At the beginning we trained, we would do class, and Chris and I would share looking after Roxy, and we'd do half a class each. Mm-hmm. Chris is like, I don't know, the most like hands-on dad, ever, I think. Well, I don't know, whatever. Well, I think he is. So we share looking after Roxy all the time. And now we have a nanny, which is amazing. She's, super great. So sometimes we leave her with the nanny, or sometimes we go and we do back-to-back classes. So I'll do a class, he'll do a class, and she'll nap while she's there. which works out really nicely.
That's cool.
And everybody at the gym is super friendly, so everyone will play with her and talk to her, and she gets all that stimulation, which is great. So yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say or talk about?
No, I feel all talked out.
Finally.
Yeah, you've done it.
we made it. Awesome. Ellen, thank you so much.
No, my
it
pleasure.
was amazing. It was also pretty personal.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing that. And good luck with the second one.
Thanks.
And I will definitely want to have you back to talk about that journey later on.
Let's see how this one goes. Yeah, definitely.
Maybe not the week before the delivery.
No, thank you.
That's stressful.
Yeah.
For you and for me.
You've learned that now. Yeah, no, then.
But thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
you.
Good. Cheers.